Okay, let him do the intro.
Hey guys, it is an absolute pleasure to have both of you on the show. Thank you so much for doing this. It's always a good time seeing you guys, and I can't say enough great things about you two.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kellen.
You both have an interesting story of how you two initially met. Tell us about it.
Okay, we have different versions of the same
I'll
story.
let you tell us.
Okay.
Really? Then are you going to start telling it that way from now on?
No, I'm not going to tell it about ever again.
No, you can. Like, you see him if he's lying on the couch like that?
Tell us.
I know, but you're supposed to be. This is like a performance. Are you sure you should lie on the couch?
Tell us.
All right. Anyway, okay. So, oh, good. The kitty's going to come and be in it.
Come on.
All right. So,
I got
so I was working on a film with John Travolta and Benjamin Bratt,
okay.
in Florida and New York. And then I was scheduled to be flown back to LA. There used to be an airline called MGM Grand. It was an all first class airline.
God, it's the best airline you ever dreamed of. It's like James Bond time.
Really?
It was crazy. They had compartments. This was the only time I didn't sit in a compartment. I just sat in a seat, but they had compartments and everything. It was really crazy. And Eric was being flown to LA. What were you doing? Finishing Best of the Best?
I had flown in from Rome
Mhm.
and caught the plane at whatever airport we're at. It was at
Kennedy, probably
Kennedy.
JFK.
Kennedy, and was heading for LAX to finish the movie.
Right.
This is like 88, 89?
It was 89.
89.
May of 89. So I, in those days, you could just change your flight. It was like a bus ticket. I mean, it wasn't even as official as a bus ticket. So I had the flight that day, and then I changed it. It was going to come the next day. And then I finished my work. So I changed it back and just, threw on like a pair of jeans, no makeup, and ran to the airport and got on the plane. And I happened to be seated next to Eric.
Okay.
I was in the window and he was in the aisle. We've traded that since then. He had a cat on his lap in a carrier, because you didn't bring your animals into the cabin in those days, but he did. Cat's name was Tender.
Tender.
And little kids would walk by and go, "Oh, can I pet the kitty?" And Eric was kind of like, "My kitty."
Chick magnet.
No, I thought sure, 100% he was gay. No question. It was a cat, not a dog. It wasn't like a Doberman picture. Not at all. It was a child magnet. And I figured Eric was gay, which I already figured.
I was safe.
Anyway, so his Oscar nomination was the same year that my biological father won a couple of Oscars.
Okay.
And so I just seen him because that had just happened recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just been submitted his sister for a part in something I was casting. She was brand new. And I realized as I was sitting next to him that I knew him because it was my job to know him. I was a casting director, but I had never really seen any of his movies because they were all they weren't comedies. They weren't like romantic comedies.
Yeah.
They were scary with violence, and he played
yeah.
a bad guy. I didn't see those kind of movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, it's funny how you know actors who you've never seen. But anyway, so I happened to be seated next to him, and he had a big bottle of Evian with him.
Okay.
And he was
my chick magnet.
And he was much nicer and more I don't know, girly than you would ever expect. He was just sweet and he talked. I had a script with me called Intersection.
I was gay.
Yeah. I had a script with me called Intersection, which my father had written.
Yes.
It hadn't been made yet. And I was supposed to read it on the plane. As soon as I saw I was sitting next to Eric, I put it under the seat because I was like, I don't want to talk shop, so I'm not gonna take out my script. And I felt my kids were little at the time, so I had no time to read except on a plane.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked a little, and then he did a really nice thing. They served the meal. They used to serve meals on planes, not in your lifetime, but they served the meal, and I need to get up to go pee. So I was like, oh, terrible timing. And he's like, wait, I'll handle this for you. And he took my tray and he handled everything so I could step out, go throw on a little mascara, which was an interesting thing to do for the gay guy sitting next to me. and came back, and he was talking about how he loved red hair and how I had beautiful eyes, which I thought was interesting. I thought, oh, maybe he wants to have eyes like these and long red hair or something since he's gay.
Yeah.
And anyway, Eventually I had to take out my script. So he asked what I was reading, and I told him the story, and it was just, I was surprised. He knew my father. My father knew Eddie Bunker and Alvin Sargent. It was kind of like a group of writers. They all knew each other. So Eric was like, I love his writing. That's amazing. He's your dad. So we talked. He asked for my phone number, and he wrote it on his driver's license so we wouldn't lose it.
That's smart.
And off we went into our worlds, except.
But you're leaving out one good part.
Hold on a second. That's in a minute. No, you can go back. Okay. So when I went home, I needed to go home quickly and immediately get in my car and go to a performance of The Rhythm of Torn Stars in Santa Monica. And Eric, so I went home, and my nanny at the time was Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Okay.
So I got home. I basically kissed the kids, ran into my car. They loved staying with Jeff, so they were very happy.
Yeah.
And Jeff comes to the door and has a big honking phone in his hand, because in those days that was phones. Yeah. He's like, hey, Eliza, there's a call for you. I'm like, I can't be late. And I said, who is it? He said, it's Eric. And I said, well, I don't know anybody like Eric. They named Eric. Just take a message. Yeah. He's like, dude, this sounds like Eric Roberts. He covers his phone. I am not, he knows I'm talking to you. I'm not telling Eric Roberts you're not available. I would be scared for my life to do that. You're taking this call. And I was like, okay. And I take the call, and it is Eric. And he's like, come meet me on set. I said, well, I have a performance. Well, after.
Anyway, the important part is that I thank Jeffrey Dean Morgan for my very happy marriage, because we had just met. I don't know an Eric. She didn't remember,
Yeah.
And, if he hadn't said, it sounds like Eric Roberts. Oh, yeah, I met him on the plane. And she took the phone. If that hadn't happened, if he hadn't said that, I wouldn't have called back.
Yeah.
I had stuff to do, dude, And I was very attracted to her. I thought she was cute as a button, and I love her red hair. But I got stuff to do. Yeah, but she took the call.
Yeah.
Falling in love very shortly thereafter. I mean, but man, if he hadn't said, it sounds like somebody it wouldn't have happened, dude. So I love Jeffrey forever.
It's crazy how things happen like that. I've had a lot of experiences like that too. So I know you say that again.
It's life. It really is.
It's crazy. I know you've both
happen for a reason.
I know you've both been busy working all the past year pretty regularly. Did you guys check out any good movies in 2020?
Well, we woulda.
You woulda, yeah. You were busy.
I mean, COVID.
The pandemic.
Because our habit was we'd go on Thursday when they secretly opened the Friday movies.
She would go.
I would go and see everything, and then pre-screen it, and then bring him.
Tell me the good
freaks.
stuff.
So I mean, let's see. What did we love? We watched all the Hallmark and Lifetime Christmas movies.
Okay.
Some of which were shot at our house with our cast and us.
Amazing.
We we discovered shows that we had never seen. Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, Aaron Sorkin's show from 2006.
I had never seen all the chick flicks from what to what, from the Tom Hanks thing.
Oh yeah, Sleepless in Seattle. You've got mail.
You've got mail.
Something's got to give. He loved them,
and they're great. I mean, I would never go see them, but
that's awesome.
At home with the wife.
Yeah.
But it's not a thing I want to go out to see. But I'm real glad I saw them. It would have been something I would have missed had I not seen them.
Tim Matheson's series with Annette O'Toole and Benjamin Hollingsworth. We love that.
Yeah.
We did a lot of binge watching.
Yeah, we did. Which I've never done before. I thought, now it's going to destroy all the fun of the drama or the comedy being special. Like reading a newspaper. But it was cool. I really enjoy it, and I understand why you kids do it. I get it.
What should we see? What movies should we see? Recommend something.
Well, my buddy he watches Cobra Kai. I heard that's really good.
Oh, Keaton has songs in Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
I've been so hooked on Cobra Kai. I mean, me being a diehard fan of the martial arts movies as well. When I first heard Cobra Kai, it was just gonna be a thing. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like something like I just like what's so great about it is the writing. Whoever wrote it, he deserves like whoever's writing it deserves an award. It's just so well
right. The thing that was so cool about Cobra Kai is, first of all, those are our friends. I'm so happy that they're like reemployed. That's amazing. But they had no expectations. I mean, they didn't know if anybody would even notice it was there. And so Michelle Silverman she's the music supervisor. And she said, hey, I want to put a couple of Keaton songs in this little show. I mean, it's just on YouTube or wherever it is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And she said, it's Cobra Kai. And I was like, of course. And he was excited because he loved all the original stuff, like you. And then this became what it deserved to be. Usually that doesn't happen. It's really good and people discovered it. Mm-hmm. So, and now it's a hit. Huge.
Yeah. Oh, it's huge.
No, and I like that, because obviously, Karate Kid goes back to a whole different generation, and like Cobra Kai is able to reach out to the newer generation as well. So that's what I like about it. It's a combination of nostalgia with, some modern stuff. But
right. Exactly right.
But yeah, all those guys are killing it, and I'm already excited for season 4.
I know. It's so great. So
yeah.
Also, before we get into the film specific questions, I just want to quickly plug the fact that Eric Roberts is now on Cameo. For those unfamiliar, Cameo is a platform where you can receive video shout-outs, marriage proposals, happy birthday messages, and everything in between from your favorite actors, musicians, athletes, etc. The list goes on. If you'd like to book a video greeting with Eric, head to cameo.com or download the app to get started. I also believe you're doing Zoom sessions now, right?
I am. Those were so much fun.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Zoom on Cameo. So much fun. I never thought it would be. But but it's easy and it's personal and it's a direct, and you can't really have a bad time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just it's a good format.
And you always
I'm glad you mentioned it, Kellen. It's thanks to you.
I mean, I just let you guys know about
it. Well,
is it thanks to Kellen?
100%.
Thanks, Kellen.
You're welcome. You get mostly positive feedback from all the customer reviews, right?
Well, except when I'm with her.
Oh, I see.
We think so. We don't really know how to work the site.
We don't know.
We only know how to do the messages.
We don't know my feedback.
Oh, okay.
We don't know my feedback.
We do get feedback on, people come to us on social, whatchamacallit, and they say, oh, that was so fun.
Yeah. My dad absolutely loved the video you guys did for him last year.
Oh, good.
Oh, cool.
Anytime.
All right. Now, the film that introduced Eric Roberts to the cinematic world is none other than King of the Gypsies. So what was it like shooting in the 70s, and how different were the sets and schedules to films of today?
Well, the power on a set, the power in the creative stuff is it evolves. It's always evolving. Mm-hmm. And it goes from actor to writer, producer to director to actor to writer, producer, director. It goes in those circles, or it used to back in the days of film. Mm-hmm. And that was at a time when the director was boss, thanks to Francis Coppola, actually, thanks to the Conversation, Godfather 1 and Godfather 2. Bang! Okay, directors are now the boss. If we can have this kind of creativity at the helm, you guys the boss. So I had a guy named Frank Pearson as my first director. Now, he had just worked with her, oddly enough, on a movie on A Star Is Born.
Oh, wow.
At me, 6 Degrees of Separation. And but he wrote and he also directed King of the Gypsies, and they wanted him to cast John Travolta in it.
Okay.
And he said no, because John was the thing. He just done Saturday Night Fever. He was it.
Oh yeah.
And he said, we want John to play the Gypsy boy. He said, no, I want an unknown. They said, oh, Frank, you make it hard on yourself. An unknown. We can't advertise an unknown.
Yeah.
Because I want an unknown. I'm going to go find an unknown. But he was boss. He was Frank Pearson, and he'd won an Oscar for a screenplay for a movie called Cat Ballou. So he had some power, and he just wrote Barbra Streisand, the movie she was in. Mm-hmm. He was kind of a heavyweight. So he went and he met a bunch of people, and everybody wanted the part supposedly. And I auditioned 3 or 4 times, and then I screen tested, and it was my first snowstorm I'd ever seen as a grown-up, and it was early January 1978, and it closed the city. You know, it closed the streets, and I walked from number 7 West 73rd Street, the Upper West Side at that time, 1976, 7, 8. It was a slum. Only started to get nice in the early 80s and got very hip in the mid 80s. But in the 70s, it was crappy up there.
Yeah, but not up at Central Park West, but down there.
No.
But
no.
yeah, where Amsterdam or where you were, yeah. Okay.
No, I was just off the park, but still, that it was crap. It was crummy.
I lived there.
But anyway, wait, you on 86th Street, the nicest Upper West Side street for many years. That
Vocalist of Terror Park. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. But anyway, so I walked through the snow down to the Gulf and Western building to take my screen test. Had a screen test and was offered the part. He showed Frank Pearson showed the screen test to Dino De Laurentiis and said, "That's who I want." And Dino said, "Sure." After he watched it, he said, "Sure, he's a good choice." And they gave me that movie, dude, Frank Pearson. So I will always be indebted to Frank Pearson.
Oh, that's excellent. When you get hit by the taxi in the movie, that was a stunt double, right? Or did you just say, "Screw it, I'm going to do all my own stunts for my first film"?
I walk up to the car and stop. No, the only time I started doing my own stunts was after Star 80, but that's another story, which I'll tell you later.
Okay, perfect.
But no, I just walked up to the car and stopped. They had a stuntman, kill himself for that one.
Yeah, because I mean, your character's going through windows, body slamming through doors, and everything in between.
Hell of a stuntman.
Yeah. It's got an excellent finale too, where you kill your father. Boom, spoiler. I bet the audience reaction to that was pretty legendary at the time. It's a very effective, exciting, and pleasing ending to that movie.
Yeah, but I also got hate mail.
Yeah.
You don't kill family. I got a lot of that mail. From Gypsies and Italians.
Really?
Don't kill family. You might not like them, but you can't kill family. What are you doing, Eric? You killing family? I'm like, it's only a movie.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people got mad about that. Yeah.
Oh wow, I wouldn't know.
That's an issue. People get involved in movies. They think that's who they're watching. So when you do something they don't like, it hurts their feelings.
People also get easily offended way too much, so that's another thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I also absolutely love the scene where the guy is teaching the younger version of you how to drive.
Oh yeah, we drive off the road. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's real classic. Okay, so moving on to the film that brought Eliza to the silver screen, we got Schlock, which was the directorial debut of John Landis, who has helmed many popular pictures, including Animal House, Blues Brothers, American Werewolf in London. The list goes on.
America.
What a wild movie to start a career with. Here's the IMDb description for anybody listening. So it's a small town is terrorized by the banana killer, which turns out to be the missing link between man and ape. It's batshit ridiculous. It's hilarious and features many great performances. It's a B-movie classic, in my opinion. And I just wanted to know, what was it like working with John Landis, and how did he do as a first-time director out of the gate?
Well, even though that was John's first feature, he'd been making movies ever since he was thrown out of high school, which
like
was
shorts, like shorts and stuff, right?
Yeah, like 8mm, just running around his mom's house in his underwear. Yeah. He shot a lot of stop action, like a lot of Gumby and Pokey movies.
Exactly.
A lot of stop action stuff. His genius showed very, very young. When I was at his house discussing Schlock, he was telling me, he's like, "I have a script. Here's what I'm going to do. I want to do comedy because he's really funny.
Exactly.
I'm going to do horror because it's easier to break into. I'll establish a name for myself. It's like crossing over from country music to top 40.
And horror's got the best return on investment out of all genres, pretty much.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's right. So you can be thought of as a hit. And he said, I've got one called Teenage Werewolf in London.
Okay.
And he said, that's going to be, which became American Werewolf. He said, that's going to be my transition because even the title is funny. So people are going to understand this is going to be funny. I was like, well, Schlock you better mean it as a comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not serious with this, are you? He said, no, I want it to be super schlocky. Everybody be really stiff. And so, but still like have some scary stuff. Oh yeah, there you go. You know who did the makeup, don't you?
Yes. I know who it is. And I know who you're talking about. It's the guy that did all right. What's his name? I know it.
Rick Baker.
Rick Baker, yeah.
Man.
That's a big
and he
deal.
Did,
so
he
basically,
did Werewolf too.
Well, yeah, but he also, look him up. Everybody's listening. Rick Baker. He's that kind of special effects makeup artist in history.
The pinnacle.
But he's in Schlock, by the way, in the high school dance. He's the boy who's on crutches and he gets knocked over and nobody cares and just falls over.
Oh, really? I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, and John Chambers, who trained Rick Baker in makeup, is in the movie. He plays the head of the National Guard.
Okay.
Later, he was exposed as a CIA operative in Ben Affleck's movie that starts with an A. What's it called again?
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Yeah, but
it starts with an A.
It starts.
All right, give me another hint.
We all know it's a big Ben Affleck movie about the CIA. Argo.
Yeah,
I saw
that. That's a good movie.
Okay, so that's about John Chambers, and that has a lot to do with Schlock.
Really?
Believe it or not. So we didn't know. I mean, we didn't. When I was up there on top of Agora High School, fainted with John, and down below me was John Chambers with a megaphone, and they're shooting and everything.
Yeah.
We didn't know that guy was a CIA operative. I mean, who knows what he was doing on our set? I mean, really, seriously, I have no idea what he's investigating.
Oh my God.
Anyway, John Landis. I moved to England when I was turned 16. I graduated early from high school and I wanted to study acting, and I went over there for the schools there.
Wow.
And John saw me in a production of The Crucible. Then when I got back to California, not LA, but to Berkeley, he called and he said, I'm doing a movie. I want you to star in it. It's $50 a day, $25 deferred, which means $25 a day.
Oh my God.
I thought that was a lot more than I was making for babysitting. So I was like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we shot in Agora, and it was record-breaking heat. It was 120 degrees. We had to pretend it was just like, whatever. We're wearing a sweater under a sweater and stuff. That was the first time I realized that I could die of heat.
Heat stroke.
And yeah, the catering was white bread with bologna. I didn't eat either of those things.
Yeah.
And we absolutely had a blast. There's a lot of really schlocky things in it. And when I did Animal House, he said to me, okay, remember everything I told you when you did Schlock playing Mindy Binerman? Because he wanted it to be kind of amateurish delivery,
Yeah.
Like when I say, thank you, Cal, I hope you come back to do homework with me later. Like that's exactly what he wanted.
Yeah,
he's like, don't do that here. I was like, I've never done that again. I mean, don't worry. Anyway, it was a blast. I mean, John is very adventurous and pretty wild. And he made a lot of jokes about the fact that when I fall onto my boyfriend out of the monster's arms, that we saved it for the last day of shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So because then if I got hurt, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought that was very funny, only it was true.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a real, there's your doggy. Oh, hi. Oh my God. Kellen, adorable. Is it a boy or girl? I can't remember.
It's a boy, Scooby.
Is he an Australian sheepdog?
He's a border collie.
He's a border collie, yeah.
He's so cute. Oh my God. Okay, this podcast shows you too, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we see him. Okay.
Yeah,
good.
you see him.
Anyway, does that give you enough of an answer about? I could go on and on about Schlock, but does that give you enough of an answer?
Yes, I just wanted to clarify. John Landis played Schlock, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. He played Schlock. That was he was a champ. I mean, in that head, 120 degrees. Usually it's the head with glasses on because he was directing us.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was just the head with glasses and a t-shirt and whatever. But he'd drive home in it and then have Rick take it off once he got home. You know how many car accidents he caused?
Wait, really?
I could only imagine.
You know what it's like to be coming from Agora to Westwood where he lived with his
This
mom?
great big monkey driving.
Whoa, gigantic. Yeah, like a Planet of the Apes ape,
Oh
right?
my God.
just driving a car, and John would forget he was wearing it. So he'd just look at people like, what's with you? He did pick up a few girls, like girls drove, followed him home. Then,
Really?
Chick magnet.
It's really funny. But yeah, no, he played Schlock, except for the piano playing. That was another member of our crew who was incredible. And he just put on the hands and did that incredible honky tonk piano and stuff.
Were there a lot of pranks being pulled on that set, like behind the scenes?
So many.
It's a John Landis set.
Tondemar, yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty typical of John.
Yeah.
Tondemar, it was fun casting. I mean, our friend Cara, her stepdad Tommy, played one of the head cops. Our publicist played Saul, the head of the police.
Yeah.
I mean, we just, it was crazy. And there were a ton of pranks. There were really a lot of pranks. I mean, like, I didn't know he was going to do that thing with my boob where he kept, which caused a lot of people to be like, are they real? Which they were. And I didn't know he was going to do that, but I was blindfolded. So what was I supposed to do? No one said cut. So I had to stay in character.
Yeah.
Keep moving his hand. And I named him after my real dog, Willie, when I thought he was a dog. It was the funniest was I'm a terrible thrower. So I was supposed to throw that stick really far. And you notice it never went like past like my own lap.
Yeah.
So John, that's when he came up with the idea of just catching it. Like I would throw it and just catch it. And I didn't know he was doing that because I was blindfolded. There was a lot of things. Here's one thing for your viewers to notice.
Okay.
When I'm screaming in the backyard, because there he is, you see the big eyes, it's like, ah!
Yeah.
I have a light blue turtleneck with a V-neck, dark blue, and I'm screaming, and you just see my face close up, and then suddenly, at the same moment, only it's now cream color lace around my neck.
Oh, it changes.
Well, what happened was we shot that. He said, I need more screaming. We got to do it in a pickup. We're going to do it. We shot in October. So we did that the next February.
Okay.
And then I was wearing the outfit from the backyard scene, the Elvira Madigan scene. And I'm like, John, how do we do? I don't have the same clothes. He's like, it doesn't matter. But, who cares? If they notice, it's even better. So you just see it, right?
I agree. Especially for a B movie. That's what makes it even funnier.
Okay, good. So look for that.
Yeah, I love the goofs. You got some more questions for Schlock, right?
Yeah. Did you foresee Landis becoming a huge name after Schlock? Like breaking out into Hollywood?
It's a very good question. Yes.
Tell them about though how you guys felt as you shot Animal House.
Oh, well, Animal House we didn't think was going to do well.
Really?
Yeah, this was 5 years later.
We thought it was just a big inside joke.
Yeah.
He kept being like, the studio loves the dailies. They love the rushes. And we're like, you always hear that. We thought no one's going to get it. I mean, we're just cracking ourselves up. We thought it was a home movie. I did know John had star quality, period. Even when he played a nun in Kelly's Heroes, where he crashed that set in Poland or Yugoslavia or something, John was a winner. John went to the lot at Paramount and walked into an empty office that had an active phone and made phone calls on his own behalf and started his own career. I mean, he was unstoppable. So we knew Schlock was Schlock. But we knew that he was going to make something of himself. There's no question about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's amazing. Another question I had, do you think Schlock played a huge part in the parody genre of film, paving the way for films like Airplane, Hot Shots, and Naked Gun?
No. I think that there's some people that's just their humor. That's their bent.
Yeah.
And Schlock was kind of like a super schlocky version of all that. I think it's more like those movies gave Schlock more credibility than it was really going to have. Because Schlock is also kind of bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
on purpose. Yeah. It's purposely bad.
On purpose, and also just because there was no money.
Exactly.
Make it good. And so I think it's more that genre is out there somewhere. And when it started to legitimize, suddenly you dig up classics like Schlock and it looks like genius. So I think it's more kind of works in reverse.
What was the reception like back then, though? Did people enjoy that kind of humor, or did they just think it was too goofy?
Well, at first, first of all, it played, it was going to play, we were scared to see it, but it was going to play in Berkeley one night, and we all gathered. We were very excited, and the film didn't work.
No.
So everybody was heartbroken, and we went to a Denny's, which is one of the only all-night restaurants then, and drank tomato juice and coffee all night. And then never saw it for years. I mean, like it was like there was no
was the premiere, or was that the premiere, or was that a test screening?
That was going to be, I guess, a test screening.
Okay.
And then it turned up at a theater. Keaton was already born.
Yeah.
He was a few months old.
Okay.
It turned up at a theater that's now like a flea market, but it still looks like a movie theater on Lincoln Boulevard in Santa Monica.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with Jimmy and Keaton, who's a baby, to see it. I'd still never seen it. You couldn't like send a link in those days.
Yeah.
And my baby was sitting on my lap, and he looked at me, and then he looked at the screen and saw me there, and he was horrified. Like he couldn't figure out, why is mommy here and there?
Oh,
and
no.
We got to get out of here. We can't do this child. It's going to traumatize him. So I still never saw it.
Yeah.
And then I can't even remember when I finally saw that movie. The reception has grown.
Oh, yeah.
All over the world. And it's still growing.
Yeah. It has its audience for sure. And I think if it played a screening today, I think like even if it was in Hollywood, I think a lot of people would go.
You know, you're right. Oh God, it's so weird.
Kellen had the suggestion to do a screening of it. Actually, I think that would be a perfect idea.
That's a good idea.
I'd love to.
Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, no, what were you asking? Eric had a question. What?
I forgot.
Okay, that's good. Don't do a podcast because it doesn't work if you forget your questions. Oh, they write them down though.
He's reading.
I know. I love that.
Working in a film with John Belushi, and again with Landis must have been an absolute riot. What was the vibe like filming with that comedic masterpiece? And that's a film that's widely regarded as one of the greatest comedies of all time. Animal House.
It is.
Yeah.
And 6 Degrees of Separation, I have an involvement in that comedy, and I didn't even know her. And it's this. The man who wrote that comedy is named Doug Kenny. And he was dating a woman I was doing a play with in 1976 at the Public Theater for Joe Papp. Well, Doug Kenny and I made friends, and we'd have lunch all the time together, and we'd tell stories to each other about each other. Mm-hmm. And I told him a story as if it happened to me, but it didn't. Mm-hmm. It happened to a friend of my father's named Ron Shuey. And the story is about when he was at a boarding school, they got a horse into a bathroom. The horse died. Rigor mortis set in. They had to cut the horse up to get it out. They got the horse out, and they nailed the kid who bought the horse, and they threw him out of school. That was Ron Shuey. I told Doug Kenny that story as if it happened to me, and he wrote it in the Animal House. So 6 Degrees of Separation. Who knew?
That's crazy. Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Crazy.
Yeah, no, that's really weird. That's awesome.
Wow.
Very crazy. And okay, in answer to your question, I was pregnant with Keaton when I did Animal House, and I had morning sickness 24 hours a day.
Oh, no.
So most of the time, I just remember being extremely nauseous.
Yeah.
And it was, of course, thrilling. So we were in Eugene, Oregon. All of us stayed at some crappy hotel. We were there over Thanksgiving. We had this like terrible Thanksgiving dinner, like cafeteria dinner, and paid like nothing. And it was like being in the military kind of.
Yeah.
So Belushi and his wife had a house, and the people who were a little more crazy would hang out there. You know, some of us were really not into, like, we didn't do drugs or anything, so we didn't go there. But you know, John was the sweetest person in the world and such a professional and so incredibly inventive. Like the whole food fight and everything was all him.
Yeah.
You know, but it was kind of amazing. You know, we felt like, remember, a lot of people were unknown. Kevin Bacon was unknown then. You know, Tim Matheson was known but kind of undiscovered. Lisa Bauer was unknown. I mean, like, you know, this was Tommy Hulse. You know, that was before Amadeus and everything. Peter Riegert, Karen Allen. I mean, Donald Sutherland was known. He was friends with John. So there he was. They've remained friends. But
all those great people. God.
Yeah, we didn't. By the way, we couldn't get jobs, any of us, afterwards for a long time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, the movie was a huge hit, but nobody.
It took a while to get the cult status.
Yeah.
Was Steven first known at the time?
No,
No,
he wasn't. I mean, everybody done stuff, but we're not known, you know.
Gotcha.
Belushi drank a lot during filming, didn't he? I heard he would like show up super late sometimes.
Well, I mean, he wasn't prompt. That's true.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I never thought to credit it to drinking. I mean, he was so there. He was not
like it didn't matter. He was always just on cue. Yeah.
He was real wonderful. There was times that people were worried.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course we're all devastated, obviously. You know, but yeah, you know, he was extremely important contributor to to how funny that movie was.
Oh, 100%.
But it was very has John's signature all over it, don't you think?
Oh yeah,
absolutely,
easily.
Yeah, and John and Tim were really a team. I mean, they'd kind of conspire. You know, they'd be whispering, and then suddenly the scene would just emerge to be incredible. I mean, I have a few behind the scenes things about Lisa Bauer. Shelley Dubinsky, is that her? Yeah, that was her character name, which I can share with you if you want. Just let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
Please. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just tell you real quick. So, as I said, like 1,000 times, I was pregnant. So John called me directly. Michael Chenich was casting it, and they were having casting sessions at Universal. I never read for that part. So John called me. He's like, Eliza, I have another part for you. It's in this movie I'm doing. And the girl has to take off her shirt. And the auditions are painful because I have to have these actresses take off their shirt. And you have to have a secretary, because we used to use the word secretary. You have to have a secretary in the room. And it's just completely awkward and uncomfortable. And you're my friend. We worked together before. So will you just do this part? And I said, so I was going to be Shelley Dubinsky. And I said, sure. He goes, thank God, I can cancel all these auditions. I hate these auditions. And I said, now I should tell you I'm pregnant. So when are you planning to shoot? Because, you know, that can affect how I'm going to look if I'm having my shirt off. He goes, oh, let's see. We're not shooting for a couple of months. Let me get back to you. So he calls me right back and he says, okay, I've written a new part for you. So this way you can be pregnant. It won't matter. Deborah Ndulman, his wife, who's the costume director, she'll figure out a way to cover up the pregnancy. So there, because I was playing a teenage girl in college, right? So
can we dance video dates?
Yeah. So then Lisa was very new, and she had some kind of condition where she had like an allergy to a lot of things, including alcohol for one thing. And then including, little did she know, marijuana. So I was up there with Jimmy, who was my husband at the time, the father of my children, and she was very nervous. She was so nervous. And John was having trouble getting the kind of performance he wanted out of her. So she was really nervous. And so Jimmy thought a good thing would be to get her stoned, that it would relax her. So the next thing, you know, I wasn't sure what was going on.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's incredibly stupid. So suddenly I'm watching and seeing her come down the stairs for her scene. And she sits down to talk to Tim, and her mouth is so dry that she could barely form any words. And I was like, and I hear Jimmy say, because he was behind me where you couldn't see him off camera. He's like, uh-oh. Remember, we were young. He was 23 years old. You know, we were young. And I'm like, what? And he says, I don't know. I was trying to help her, but I don't know if it was a good idea. I'm like, shit. And so, are you allowed to say that on your podcast?
Of course.
Okay.
Oh my God.
We love swear words.
And you can hear also her delivery when she says, Frank, she's supposed to say, I don't know how to tell you this, so I'll just tell you.
Okay.
She goes, I don't know how to tell you this, so I'll just tell you. Because she was completely stoned and wasn't sure what the line was.
Poor girl.
Oh no.
So, and I was so mad at Jimmy. I felt so guilty myself. And so, but anyway, that became kind of the style. And then when she had to do the scene where her shirt was off, she was very shy and freaking out. Tim was so nice. So they had me hold the robe for her. So when she dived out of the car, I could just grab her and stuff. I hear she's quit acting. She was wonderful. I mean, she was really, really wonderful. But I think it was not, you know, most of us fall in love with it when we do it the first time. I think for her, she fell kind of more in hate of it. Sarah Holcomb also. Both of them were great. But yeah, so so I was supposed to be, so Tim and I still lament the fact that we didn't get to do those scenes together.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it. You're on the air.
Sorry, I got one more.
Okay.
So did you keep in contact with Belushi up until his passing?
Yeah, all of us did. And I had I got married the day before I went to do Animal House.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the actual wedding, about a month after we wrapped.
Oh, okay.
At the Bel Air Hotel, and the whole cast and crew were there. And I stayed in touch with John, and then I was casting for CBS. Now, actually, we were in talks with him and his people about doing a couple of things. And I was in personal talks with him because that's how he liked to do things. He'd hear from his people and then want to find out what was really going on with various shows. John called me at work one day and broke the news. But yeah, we had all stayed in touch. Belushi was in and out of touch.
John Landis called you at work.
Yeah, John Landis called me at work to tell me what had happened. But Belushi Eric knew Belushi. He actually knew him better than I did. There was times he just disappeared because he was binging, you know. But he knew him. But yeah, we all did stay in touch. Yes, we did indeed.
He was amazing, and even you getting to be a part of his legacy, that's amazing.
I think so too. Listen, we didn't realize it was going to be such a legacy thing. There was a time that Eric and I were driving on Beverly Boulevard near Cedars, and I'm driving, Eric's sitting next to me, and some people scream from their car, oh my God, it's you, and Eric's like, yeah, careful, like we're in traffic. So they're like, not you, move over, we're talking about her, Animal House, remember?
Yeah.
You just don't realize it when it's happening. You really don't.
Well, Animal House is such a huge part of the industry format. I mean, it actually changed movies. I mean,
it did.
Animal House is big. Animal House is much bigger than just a hit movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
Because of Belushi, because of Her Oldest Child, all kinds of really cool things happen with that movie that are cinematic history.
Mm-hmm.
And John Landis killed. What a movie. God.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he discovered talent. He didn't just take whoever was the flavor of the month and stuff. And also, but yeah, it's true. I mean, Keaton, John calls Keaton, my son, the youngest member of the cast, having been a fetus in the film.
Yeah.
Charlie Corelli, who was our DP, his wife was pregnant too, and Stephen First's wife was pregnant too. So we had a whole thing. We were all reading The Immaculate Deception, and we were all, it was like a midwife convention there. But Keaton, now he tours with Otis Day and the Nights. He's become kind of, and he's on Cameo. I'm on Cameo. I mean,
he is.
It's just, as a matter of fact, my laptop right now we're talking on is resting on top of a book called John Landis.
Oh, nice.
I just noticed that. You feel when you're part of something like that, and this happens all the time with Eric's films, like I'm looking through the channels last night, Animal House was on. I feel guilty not watching it. I'm like, right? Isn't that funny? But I'm like, it's very funny and all. But
yeah.
Over it.
Do you guys have trouble watching yourselves on films, or not really?
He does.
Yeah.
I stopped watching myself about 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I got bored with myself. I got irritated watching myself. I had seen too much of myself. I'd been like, oh, there's that guy again.
This guy.
I just got done with watching me. I just got done.
That's on yesterday against Animal House.
It's horrible.
Just like in alphabetical order. Animal House. And I didn't watch either one. No offense to either of us.
Okay.
Well, it's a common thing for actors. Like, they don't want to really see themselves on a screen at times. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
Although I have to tell you something. I felt really famous. It happened about a dozen years ago. Okay. I was like, it was about an 8 or 10 year period where I was really town hopping. I was home like 2 months of the year. I was all over the world for like 2 weeks at a time in each city, but all over the world making movies. It was crazy. And I found, and and I felt really famous, and not because of that, but because in every hotel room, I would turn on the TV and I could find a movie of mine.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I realized, gosh, I'm famous. This is so much fun. and I just got happy understanding that everywhere I go, out of 160 stations, I'm going to be on one of them. And I realized that's what fame is, and and you're also welcome everywhere when you're recognizable.
Exactly.
So if you're not an a-hole, you can really use it to your advantage, and it's really fun, And sometimes they even feed you for free. Who knew?
Speaking of that, I'm happy you brought that up. You're famous in Russia.
Who knew? I know. I'm like Marlon Brando in Russia. It's really fun.
Well, how did you find out? Like, what are you referring to, Kellen?
I remember you guys were telling me, and you showed me that outfit that he got that they gifted him from Russia.
Yeah, I know.
And whenever he goes there, it's just like a mob scene.
Yeah, they give me these guards in Russia, and they're soldiers, and I have to tell them because they're rough and they're very military. And I say, you have to be nice to people. And say, no, I protect you. I said, no, but you have to be nice. You have to say, excuse me, and said, you can't throw them to the ground and hold them down with your rifle. You have to be sweet and say, he would love to give you an autograph. Just a minute, please. That kind of thing. No, I protect you. But it's so much fun there because they're like children. And only since about the mid 90s have they had access to the whole world.
Yeah.
And well, since 89. So they're behind, and so but they're catching up fast. They're catching up fast.
I'd love to check it out there once.
It's so cool, man. And the most beautiful city I've ever seen in my life anywhere, and I've been everywhere, is St. Petersburg. Oh my God.
Really?
It's like birthday cake, the whole city. Yeah, it's special.
Next time he has to go there, we'll send you, Kellen. Okay?
Absolutely. I'll work at his table with him.
I'll take Kellen, great.
Yeah. All right, on to my personal favorite film of Eric's, Star 80. Let's see. This is my personal favorite movie of yours, as well as my dad's. When doing Star 80, I'm sure it was tough initially getting into that role, solely because the person you were playing was nothing like you or your personality. What did you do to get into that mindset and create such an iconic yet psychopathic character?
Well, okay. Let me give you a little background. Bob Fosse and Hal Ashby were my heroes. I was going to work for both of them or die. And so Bob Fosse was making a movie. It was his first movie after his Best New Director Academy Award for
all that jazz.
All that jazz. Yeah.
All that jazz. So he was the director of that moment. And he was doing a new film. It was a biography, and it was about a hot chick from Playboy. Okay, here we go. And she had a badass boyfriend who married her and then shot her. Okay, sounds interesting. Okay, so anyway, I read the script. I didn't like it. I thought it was on the nose. I thought it was obvious. I thought it was
graphic.
It was like sad from page 1 up till the end. It was sad to me. It was like, I don't want to be in this movie, but it was a Fosse movie, so I had to go for it. So it's somehow my manager got a script, and it was illegal how he got it because they weren't handing out scripts. And I did a bunch of homework, and I went in and auditioned 5 times for him.
Wow. And
then on the last day in there, he asked me to walk around the room, and so I walk around. And he said, I heard you were a cripple.
What?
I had a car accident, before I met him. And he said, I heard you were a cripple. I said, no. He goes, well, have a seat. Let's talk. So I have a seat. He goes, want to be in a movie? I said, he goes, okay. But here's the thing. No matter what, I'm the boss.
Yep.
Whatever I ask you to do, you do for me. Okay. I said, you got it. And that's how he operated. And that's how he got that performance. I just sat in his lap and I did what he told me to do. And that's how we created that character.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, he only did a handful of movies. I think he did like 8 that he directed.
5.
Oh, it was 5?
Yeah.
So what do you think makes him a unique director then? And what was the kinship you two shared on set?
Well, it's an overused and abused word, but he was a genius.
Okay.
And once you're around an artistic genius at their craft, at their vocation, you realize 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
You realize that you're not one, and that they are a breed unto themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They are something you're not, and there's something that you can only admire and get on the wagon with. You can't redirect it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get with it or get off it.
Exactly.
So I chose to get with it, and I got with him, and I got in real sync with him,
mm-hmm.
and we killed it together. But we did it together. All humble BS aside, I'm very proud of that performance. But I'm in that performance because of him.
Mm-hmm. And you end up really feeling for her character in the film,
Mm-hmm.
because it's got to be a tough life living as like the Playboy model, and you're kind of like leeching off her, and yeah, it's a tough movie to watch.
What do you love about it, Kellen? Why I'm interested in why, because I know it's incredibly good, but what is it about it that made it one of your favorites?
Well, I think it's one of his best performances overall. I think just like obviously Bob Fosse did a great job directing. I think the ending is just shocking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I don't know, it's just really likable characters, I think, that really drew me to it. I've only seen it once. I saw it like a couple of years ago.
You know what we did? You'll like knowing this. Bob Fosse shot everything in that movie where it really happened. Like
wow.
where she died, where I died, we shot in that apartment. That's where we shot it. All the stuff at Playboy all took place at the mansion. We did it all. It was all where it happened is where we shot it.
Wow.
And every bit of that movie. There's a bunch of stuff that was doubled on sets.
Yeah.
But all the stuff was shot where it happened. And Bob Fosse and I even spent the night in that apartment the day before we shot there, because he told me to. He said, "I'm gonna spend the night there. Want to spend the night with me?" I said, "No." He said, "Yes, you do. Come on."
He's like, "You're doing it."
That must have been a trip, just having to be at the locations where these things happened.
Yeah.
Right?
What's that? Say it again.
It must have been a trip just having to be at the locations where these, incidents actually happened. I mean,
yeah, that must have been an eerie experience, being like right in the same spot.
I realized he was feeding off of it, and I fed off him. So whatever fed him fed me.
Okay.
And I was a child. I was 25 years old. I thought I was a grown up, but I wasn't. And I was just this little puppy following around my dad, who was Bob Fosse, and whatever he wanted me to do, I'd wag my tail and do it. And and that was really the long and short of it. I mean, and one more Fosse story is we're doing a scene one day where I'm playing the guitar in my underwear. And I messed up the song and I said, cut. Mm-hmm. We don't say cut on a Fosse set unless you're Fosse. He likes to see something played out. So he said, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, what the fuck?
I said, "I made a mistake." He goes, "Come here." He walks away from the set. Now it's a big old soundstage in Zoetrope, Francis Ford Coppola's old place. Big old soundstage, Jack. It's as big as a football field. He walks across it. "Come with me," he says. "I'm in my underwear." I got the whole crew looking at me, walk up behind Bob Fosse with little, skinny legs in my underwear, and I'm in trouble with the boss. I go up to him and he says, "Look at me." I said, "I'm looking at you." He goes, "Look at me." I said, "I'm looking at you, man." He goes, "Okay, you're playing me if I weren't successful. Do you understand?"
Mm-hmm.
Wow. He and I spent months together, prepping this thing. So I knew who I was talking to, and I knew what he was saying. Mm-hmm. And what he was saying was the most personal direction I ever got from a director, ever. And on the way back to set, I watched how he walked, and I started playing him. I started playing him completely. That role is only likable to some degree because I'm playing Bob Fosse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometime I'm going to have you serenade me with Here Comes the Sun, by the way.
That's sad.
Anyways, moving on to Pope of Greenwich Village, which came out in 1984. What was it like working with Mickey Rourke?
It was the best and hardest experience I ever had.
Really?
I love Mickey to death. He never does his homework.
Pain in the ass. Okay.
No, I didn't say that. He's a gold mine of artistic gems every day.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, one of my favorite, performances of all times is his. It's Barfly. The performance of Barfly takes my breath away. That guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he he's Mickey. He shows up an hour and a half late every day, and he says, "Hey Ace, how you doing? Do you know your lines?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Good, because I don't know lines." Great.
Oh shoot!
And that's what we do every day. But he's a brilliant, perfect actor.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's a great time.
Yeah, no, I think you guys had such incredible chemistry on screen. I mean, and honestly, I cracked up a lot. Just like the dialogue you guys had, and so I wanted to, which brings me to this question: was most of your dialogue improv? Because I feel like a lot of it was stuff that you probably had to have spitball on camera.
At least a handful, right?
If it was me and Mickey talking, it was probably improv. If it's me with a speech, it's Vincent Patrick's words.
Gotcha. I love when you get your car ticketed and towed. Your reaction to that is really great. In that,
Top shit his pants.
Yeah.
Oh, the laxative.
Right.
I'm sure you missed that 80s haircut.
Actually, that haircut was my idea. My hair's straight. My hair's like this. But I spent a lot of time downtown watching those guys.
Okay.
And they've all got curly hair.
Yeah.
And the ones that don't have your curly hair, it's because they straightened it.
Yeah.
I decided I'm going to do my perm. So that's why I did that.
And apparently it was supposed to originally star Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. Is that correct?
I was told it was Al Pacino and James Caan.
Okay.
But I was also told it was Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton.
Okay.
I'm joking. So you never know. I know James Caan and Al Pacino were going to do it, and they both had scheduling problems. It didn't happen, so it went away. But that happens all the time in movies. All the time.
I love James Caan.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Our buddy Louis Lazera did his makeup for many years.
Yeah, that's right. He did Eraser. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know him. I didn't know he was your friend. That's cool.
Yeah,
Hey, he was on the podcast back, I think, in June.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
You're telling me.
Yeah,
Yes.
we still keep in touch with him. He's a wonderful guy, really
Yeah.
is.
Say hi for sure from
Oh,
us.
for sure.
Definitely.
It's kind of ridiculous. There hasn't been a proper Blu-ray release of Pope of Greenwich Village yet.
That is weird.
I don't know why that's. I don't know.
Well, put it on the internet and let's chase it.
I'm gonna send it to Criterion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make a note.
I like pretty much any film that's based in New York, good or bad. The scenery always saves the picture for me. I know you both worked with the Safdie brothers on Good Time, which is another film that I can vouch for as muy bueno, and has that great gritty New York sleaze to it. So, I was wondering, you've both been back and forth from New York a lot filming. Do you enjoy working there?
It's my favorite time to work in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's such a great to be paid to go to New York and be put up there and stuff. It's heaven. And now you can shoot in the city, so that's a lot better because for a long time you couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm from New York, so it's really a pleasure to go home to work unless it's summer.
Which part are you from?
Manhattan, West 86th Street.
Nice. I just went to New York for the very first time in my life back in October.
I know you did.
Where did you stay?
Say that again.
Where
did you stay?
Oh, Manhattan.
I know, but where?
Right near Chinatown.
Cool.
Like right outside of Chinatown.
Again, lollipop.
No, thank you.
And
It's dry from talking a lot. No, shooting in New York is fantastic. And when we did the Safdie brother movie, we weren't right in the city. Actually, we were in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
and we were at a prison, and then we were at the bail bondsman's place.
Yeah.
That was a real bail bondsman's place.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of outside the city. Where you want some lip gloss?
So you both seem to be back and forth from New York filming a lot. Do you enjoy working there, and does it have its advantages over working in LA, or is all the work pretty much the same to you guys?
Well, that's a 5-part question.
What's the answer?
The answer is this. The cops in New York who work movies are the best there are in the world.
Great.
Because they're easygoing, sweet guys, but they keep the order.
Mm-hmm.
They like us, they know us, they understand us, they get us, they understand that that actress should not be driving. They understand everything, They get it, and they're cool about it, and they're sweet. LA cops, not the same thing, but the retired LA movie cops are great. And they're who kind of run our show for us, really, as actors on location in town. It's we do what the cops say. It's a traffic show. You know, you put the trailers here, and you do this here, and this is there, and this is there, and stay out of the street. Okay, I'm sorry. You know.
Yeah.
And the cops run the show for us, and we do what they say, like you did what Patrol said in 7th grade. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And they run our show when we're on location.
Mm-hmm.
But the hardest job that goes so overlooked in our industry is the AD. The first AD is in charge of the whole production.
Super important.
Yeah, he's the guy, and he never gets mentioned. Or her, and he never gets thanked. She never gets thanked, and they get crapped on all day long, and they go home to do homework to start it over. And we need to talk about them more. We need to make people aware of them. That it's not just us in front of a camera. It's this guy who calls the cameraman, calls the actor, calls the makeup artist, calls transportation, calls the cops, calls everything. It's all organized. Says, okay, let's shoot and action. Okay, director, it's your ball game. And then the director takes over. But it's after the AD's done all the work.
Exactly.
We never mention him.
Shout out to Amy. Shout out to our girl Amy.
What's her last name?
Is it Covell or something? Amy?
Yes, of course.
Amy Covell.
Our Amy. Yes.
Shout out to Amy.
Yes.
All right. So the year after, we got Runaway Train, which came out in '85, my personal favorite film year of all time. How was it like working with Danny Trejo? This was his first movie.
Well, let me tell you how I met Danny Trejo. So the man who wrote that movie, who also plays one of the prisoners in it with the bald head, is named Eddie Bunker. Eddie Bunker served 17 years in Folsom. Also did a 2-year stint in San Quentin. He says to me, I met this Latino dude in San Quentin. I want you to pick him to box. Okay. He's a Mexican with a tattoo. I said, okay, great.
Looks
they
pissed
line
off.
them all up. It's like 30 of them. They line them up. Okay, you're going to pick a guy to box. Pick the Mexican with a tattoo. Okay, no sweat. I go in there. They're all Mexican. They all have tattoos.
Oh, no.
So I decide I'm not going to pick the right one. I'll be right back. Okay. So I go and say, Eddie, come here. There's a bunch of them. They're all Mexican. They all have tattoos. What do I do? He's got a tattoo of a boy in a sombrero on his body right here. You can't miss it. It's as big as he is. So go back in, and there it is. I got him spotted. I say, I want that guy to box. He goes, but he's a real boxer. I said, well, we're boxing. He said, no, but he's like, he was a champion at San Quentin. Well, that's why he's here, I guess. I want him. So they pick him out, and they say to him, now, can we really hit you? Can Eric really hit you? He says, for what they're paying me, he can do anything but kill me. And they were paying him $100.
Oh yeah.
But he had just gotten out of prison. It was his first job out of prison that Eddie Bunker got him through me. And that's how Danny Trejo started in movies.
Was he scary a dude at first? Like when you first met him?
He was the loveliest man I ever met who looked dangerous.
Yeah.
And he's lovely, lovely, lovely man. And we maintained a friendship from then until now.
And you were in the documentary that he just put out, right? The Inmate Number One.
Of course,
it was called. Yeah, I remember seeing you in that. And he was credited actually as Daniel Trejo at the time.
Oh,
I thought it was funny.
Well, my name is Eric Anthony Roberts. Don't forget it.
Do you got any more questions for Runaway Train?
Well, yeah. Well, because I know like you did boxing in the movie, of course, with Danny, and then you went on to do like Best of the Best as well. Like, did you? So me as a martial artist, I'm kind of curious. Did you train in martial arts like prior to these movies at all?
I've taken martial arts on and on since I was 8 years old. Let's go back to Runaway Train and stunts.
Yeah.
When I did a movie called Star 80 in 1982, Bob Fosse wanted me to hang out a 35-story window and have my face with the scenery as I'm hanging out the window. So they said, no, Eric Roberts cannot do that because he's not a stuntman. So let's make him a stuntman, Bob Fosse says. They say, Bob Fosse, you're crazy. He says, I have an Academy Award. This is what I want. They say, okay. So they make me a stuntman. I'm a stuntman for that shot. But then I'm a stuntman, so I can do my own stunts.
Yeah.
So I start doing my own stunts. I think I'm a badass. Hey, I think I'm cool. I do my own stuff. Okay. I'm doing Runaway Train. I'm behind John's stunt double. We're all roped off, but we're on the outside of the train walking. The train's doing about 40 miles an hour. It is cold.
Yeah.
It is snowing. And I slip about this much. But I realize I could die.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I have no business doing this. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So I said, please get me, I'm an actress. Get me out of here. So they kind of did. And from that day to this, I don't do my own stunts. I do this in a fight scene. That's what I do.
What about the martial arts? Talk about the training with Simon Ree.
Well, I've taken martial arts off and on my whole life, but I've never been really a formal martial artist. I've just messed around other friends' dojos, and then this movie comes up, and they say, now are you going to have to fight if you do this movie, and you're going to have to fight with a technique, and you know, do you know how to do it? I said no. They said, okay, we're going to put you with a guy named Simon Ree. He's a martial artist. He's the star of the movie's brother. And so anyway, he and I make friends, and he choreographs all my fight scenes. And he's Daehan, the guy with the eye patch in those movies. And in fact, I'm why he's in part 2. Thank you very much.
But Eric faked it really well, I thought, in Best of the Best. The stick work and everything, you know.
Well, the stick work I had to learn. That was hard.
Yeah.
And I hit myself a lot in the stick work. You knock yourself out with the stick work.
And how was John Voight?
John Voight was lovely. And here's the thing about John and I. We have opposite politics, and we have opposite understanding of the world we want at large. Opposite, A and Z. He and I never discuss a thing except our characters and our location, our discomfort, and our happiness. That's all we ever discuss on that set. And we pretty much only discuss it in character. And like, you know, they would drop us in the tundra from a helicopter, so they had no tracks. And they would say, run! and we'd run. And John would get so mad that I didn't have to get mad, because John was always angry. They're not taking care of us. They're risking our lives. They know what this is. Blah, 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 blah. And he was right. He was never wrong. But so I just would say, yeah, what he said, you know, and you know, John was a champ every day. And John also only weighed what I weigh now, which is about 175 pounds. And John is 6'2". So John wore a whole bodysuit. So he looks huge. He's not. That's a bodysuit. So John's whole character was magnificent in that, because it's not John Voight. John Voight is like me. He's a skinny cat who does not look threatening. And but he was in that movie, and he was because of a bodysuit and just that acting he can do, because he is a brilliant, first-rate, everybody's actor.
Oh, he's perfect.
Blew me away every day.
And that's another one of my favorite roles that you've done as well. And that movie makes me feel cold for some reason. It's just all the snow, like I don't know, you just like feel like you're there.
Well, let me tell you a real quick story about actor's choice. When I was offered that movie, he was kind of a dumb thug, and he was out in New York.
Yeah.
In fact, he was out in New Jersey, I think.
Okay.
I think somewhere like that. Anyway, somewhere like in Bergen County, Jersey. But when I read the script, he's in for statutory rape, and I said, you can't have a guy with a voice as deep as mine in for statutory rape. Something is wrong with that. It sounds freakish. It's not cool. But you have a guy talk like this. I know she was 14. I didn't know. You can squeak by with statutory rape. If you just didn't know, if you sound kind of stupid anyway, and you just don't know, and your voice ain't too deep, so you don't sound like you're a sexual threat all the time. What?
You don't sound like a man.
You don't sound like a fish. Right? So that's what I did with that guy, because I love the part. I love the dialogue, but the situation, being a grown-up in trouble with statutory rape, you got to be careful, because you can be very dislikable. Yeah.
All right, on to Best of the Best. I still have to see the sequel, so if you got any questions on the sequel, I've only seen the first one.
You haven't seen Best of the Best Part 2?
No, I've only seen the first
find
one.
it. I can't seem to find Best of the Best 2 anywhere. I've been wanting to watch it.
Really?
What's wrong with that?
That's ridiculous.
I saw Best of the Best for the first time last year, but never got to the sequel.
Here's what we do. Simon Rhee has a taekwondo school in LA, in Woodland Hills.
Woodland Hills. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah,
crazy.
you get in touch with Simon. You say, how do we get part 2? And he will take care of it for you. And the whole world should know that. So I tell the whole world that on the show.
I'll order a DVD probably just off eBay for now.
Yeah. No, I'd love to check out his school, actually. I mean,
you should. You're a martial artist. He's so wonderful.
Oh, of course, yeah. I train up in Burbank at a taekwondo school up there. So
yeah, that's great. That's good.
So how was working with Sally Kirkland?
Sally Sally and I got really close during that movie. Sally and I have seen each other maybe 30 times since then at social events.
And we've been in a couple of movies together too.
Oh yeah.
Have we?
Yes.
Have we done?
Didn't you do something recently with her? I thought you did something.
Yes, very recently.
We've like seen each other so often that we're like really good friends.
Sallywood, we did.
Sallywood, that's right.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I didn't remember until just now. Sallywood, yes, that was even fun to do. Yeah. No, Sally and I really made good friends. And Sally is one of the most brilliant people who hates herself I've ever known. She is a brilliant actor who never believes how brilliant she is.
Oh, she's great.
Oh, she's a brilliant actor.
She's a veteran too. She's been in so many things.
People don't know how great she is. She is a brilliant actor.
Her manager is Valerie McCaffrey. The same.
Is she really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know that.
Valerie produced Sallywood.
Yeah, she was up for Best Actress for Anna in I think was that 89?
Yeah,
late 80s.
Yeah.
She didn't win. I thought she won.
No, I think.
She's an amazing person.
She was nominated.
With her.
Yeah, and that movie's not available anywhere either, too.
Yeah, we wanted to check out Anna, but Anna's not available anywhere either. We had her on the podcast.
And available. It got Academy Award nominations.
I know.
It's crazy, right?
That's weird.
We had her on the podcast a few months ago, and we were talking. She wants us to contact Criterion, just like for you.
Right. Good. You should.
Okay. Apparently, so Kane Hodder was on Best of the Best. Did you get to meet him?
Sure.
Amazing dude.
Great cat. Really normal. Really sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, his documentary that he did a few years ago, To Hell and Back, is just brilliant.
Is he a martial artist?
Yeah.
So he's the guy that accidentally punches the girl in the face in the bar scene while everyone's playing pool. He had an amazing documentary that I just said, Hell and Back. How much fun was that whole fight scene in the bar? And that's got to be a highlight of your career, I'm guessing.
Well, I'll be honest with you. You owe that fight scene every every piece of it to Philip and Simon. They worked it out completely weeks before they met any of us. They just did it in their heads and did it with each other and did it all. They said, here's the fight scene. And they laid it out for us. And the actors and the stuntmen got together and we made it work. But it was all Philip and Simon. It was all them. That fight scene is one of the most fun to watch fight scenes ever in cinema. And it's because of those two brothers.
It's pretty long too, isn't it? That's like a few minutes.
Yeah, it's a couple of minutes long. Yeah.
I don't think there's ever going to be a longer fight scene than the one in They Live, though. With Roddy Piper. Oh my God.
I know.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But no, I've noticed like Simon and Philip, they've done a lot of action movies together and they're just so phenomenal on screen. I've seen like, I think it was Simon, he did Showdown in Little Tokyo with Dolph and Brandon Lee.
Yeah.
Like these guys they built a hell of a resume, like literally.
And you got to work with James Earl Jones, who we worked on him with the Ambulance as well.
Several times.
Came out the following year. How's he to work with?
James is just the sweetest, easiest. You can't hassle him. You can't ruffle him. You can't throw him. You can't. Yep. Move. This is CNN.
He always works in everything he's in.
He's just that guy.
That guy.
And he's perfectly polite. He's perfect. He's like, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He seems approachable.
James plays a very hard ass character on like in the movie. Like, so like, how did he like get into character? Did he just like switch on and off from like being the nicest and sweetest guy to being this tough character?
He's an actor, he's just James Earl Jones. And okay, I gotta yell at you. Okay, I'll be yelling at you now. I'm just James Earl Jones.
You're like, I gotta go home and see my son. He's like, you're staying or you're out.
You're staying or you're out.
How did you get in the right headspace to do all those crying scenes?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I cheat.
Okay.
I use menthol.
Oh yeah, right below your eye.
Yeah, they blow a little menthol in your eye, and your eye get all water, and everybody feels sorry for you, and they go, "Oh, what a great actor!" As if
it works. It works great though.
Yeah, who knew?
I tried it once.
Yeah, how did it work for you?
It hurt. It burns.
But everybody felt sorry for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't filming anything. I was doing like a self-tape for a friend. So I don't know.
Good.
And can you still do those crazy jump rope tricks?
I couldn't do them then.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I could just, whoa, God, thank God I got to it. Did you get it? Have you got it? Great, because I can't do it twice.
It's like a thousand takes.
Yeah. I am not an athlete. I never was. I pretended to be all through high school, but I sucked. But I pretended, and then I did a little martial arts to look cool and to be cool with my friends. But I was not a martial artist. And then I get this movie, and thank God for Simon Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think we all pretended a little bit.
Yeah.
I have to ask about the late Chris Penn. What was it like getting to work with him?
Lovely cat. One of my buddies, and did a lot of hanging with Chris, and loved him. Loved him, and I thought he was a magnificent talent. Thought he probably knew at least of all of us, but thought he was magnificent talent. And but he had issues with stuff, and with drinking.
Yeah.
But he was magnificent human, and he will always be missed by me.
Kellen, you need to ask Prairie her experiences, because Prairie and Keaton were both in Best of the Best Part 2.
No way.
Yeah, and Chris, I can't remember the whole story. She'll remember. I think somehow we had to go from one location to another, and there were certain production cars going and certain personal cars. And somehow, certain people, when the kids were on set, they really gravitated towards them, like Rosie O'Donnell and Chris.
Okay.
And somehow Chris ended up driving the kids.
Wow.
And I can't remember exactly, but I remember the look on their faces when they got out of his car.
Horrified or happy?
Mom.
Oh, no way.
That's not a grown-up you just put us in a car with. I don't know if he was, a little intoxicated or what happened exactly. Ask her because she'll remember. I don't want to
Probably.
lead you, but something happened where they loved him dearly.
Yeah.
It was not a good parenting moment on my part. Little did I know.
I
But
was
he
just
like a big kid. He was like, "Hey, come on, kids! Come with
Yeah.
me." Yeah.
I was just with Morgan the other day. I asked her to do it sometime in the future. She just doesn't think she'd be interesting enough. And I'm like,
And she's very shy.
She's shy, dude. She
have
hates
to,
this stuff so much.
Yeah, she's wrong.
Just
She's so
because of
interesting.
shyness.
She's so funny, and she's so.
she tells the best stories though.
She does.
I
So
know,
tell
I
her,
know.
just get her to do it. Just tell her you'll do like
gonna.
a 10-minute
I'm
one
gonna.
or something with her.
I absolutely will.
Okay. All right.
And
I'll do it.
anybody listening, Morgan does the best pies in LA. So go to @Pie Bake Shop on Instagram or look up Morgan Simons on Instagram. She just makes the best pies in LA.
Remember, it's Pie Bake Shop, PI, like the pie sign.
Yeah,
So-
like the mathematical PI Bake Shop.
Yeah.
All right. Do you got any more on best of the best?
Just one more. So the tournament location, that wasn't actually in wait, was it Japan or Korea they went to in the movie? Like it was it was probably in LA, right?
California City.
California City. Okay.
Yeah, and also we shot in Vegas. We shot Vegas, California City, downtown Los Angeles. Definitely not overseas.
Yeah.
I figured as much.
Yeah.
Movie magic.
Yep, exactly.
Random thing to say, but Nick Cage has done so many movies in Vegas. Like I swear to God, there's got to be like 5 Nick Cage movies that are all in Vegas.
Yeah, that's
but he
true.
did one of the best movies ever made in Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas.
What a movie, dude.
And he won Best Actor for that one.
Yeah, who knew? Yeah, but what a movie.
He's
What
hilarious. He's
performance.
hilarious.
What a movie. What a movie. I love that movie.
Excellent movie.
Yeah.
So next year we got The Ambulance, which you got to work with the amazing Larry Cohen. He made one of my favorite movies, The Stuff, which also came out in '85.
Yeah.
Love this guy to death. Really sad to hear he passed a couple years ago.
Such a nice guy too.
Such a nice guy. We met him like once.
Yeah.
And it was all real. He was that guy.
Exactly.
He acted like that guy. He was that guy. And he would come to me and he would say like, "So Eric, I was looking at this I'm going to shoot today. And well, you know what? I don't like it. And yeah, I know I wrote it, but I don't like it. And, and you know what? Let's do something else." I said, "Sure, what do you want to do?" "I haven't decided yet." That's was like working for Larry. It was like, "Okay, whenever you're ready, let me know, dude." But he would, and he was one of the most gentle, likable, "Hey, let's try that" kind of a guy
Yeah.
you've ever seen. And he loved making movies like I like making movies with the exact same stuff, the exact same take. We're on the set, dude. Can you believe it? And,
And he was such a film fan too.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
so into it.
And he was just a pleasure. And he was what you saw is what you got, which is not always the case in our vocation. And your dog is so lovely. Look at that. He's so happy. Oh my God. That is likable.
Want to say hi?
That is so likable. Look at that. Oh. He said, "Dad, what are you doing?"
Did you say Snoopy?
Scooby. Like
Scooby.
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby is lovely. Scooby-Doo.
You're such a good dog dad.
Scooby-Doo's a good boy.
Yeah. He's a very fast dog too. I've seen him run.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
He'll beat anybody in a race. And
Yeah, we have one of those. We had a dog named Muddy after Muddy Waters, and he was half pit bull, half German, short hair, and he used to run. It was like watching muscle run. It was like, wow, look at the muscle.
oh yeah, they're wild.
It was so much fun to have.
Scooby's taking a break now, though. from
Yes.
running.
He always rests when I do the podcast.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Scooby's smoking dope.
Yeah. Scooby's got to lay off the doobies. So Larry Cohen, you did a documentary on him recently, King Cohen, which is excellent. People should go check that out immediately. I think it's still on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
His guerrilla style filmmaking was absolutely unreal and completely innovative for the time. He came up for the 1990 film, The Ambulance, in which you star because of a poor experience he had in an ambulance himself. I'm not sure if you guys knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then what were your best memories of working with him? Because he was absolutely one of a kind and he gave his actors a lot of freedom. he was able to make films his own without a lot of interference, and was a very nice and open man while doing it.
Well, you can go on and on with Larry Cohen stories, but let me just tell you one extreme story that kind of tells you the kind of guy that he was, and it's this.
Okay.
He says to me, I know in pre-production we talked about this going to be a special effect. I think I can do it in that I think I can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you mean? Well, you know, when you come out of the ambulance on the gurney, bang, and you're on, I found the hill. I found the hill that's 3/4 of a mile long and it's a straight line. I found this hill. Have to use it. Okay. Well, you do it. Let's do it in pieces. Yeah, we'll do pieces. But I gotta have one that's the whole hill.
My God.
I'm like, you talking a 3/4 of a mile hill on a gurney? Me with my head first? What? No, not head first, feet first.
Yeah.
Oh, that changes everything. Oh, great. Yeah. and so we did it.
You did?
And we did it to the point where as I'm doing it, and I'm a kind of a guy who's game. I will try anything twice. Exactly. And as I'm doing it, I'm thinking, what the F is wrong with me? What have I done? As I'm going down this hill, feet first, realizing they don't have brakes on gurneys. Thank you. They have lift ups, but they don't have brakes. You're on your own, dude. And I must have turned over 30 times, maybe.
Oh my God.
And but we got it, and it's so cool. And it's because, you know what? I think we can do this, and so we did it. And, but I did it because he's so likable, and he was so ridiculous. What? Okay, I'll try that. Yeah, that's what it was like working for him.
Yeah, he wasn't really known for directing other material, and usually only worked on stuff that he actually wrote himself.
Right.
Did Larry like to do a lot of takes, or were there very few?
Very few.
Okay.
Like
just like, let's roll with it.
Yeah. And
yeah.
In fact, almost everything was shot and done. Okay, we got it. Okay.
Yeah.
You sure? Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome.
Isn't his wife a therapist?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
And then isn't he's into models, like replicas and models and comic books and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah. All right, and then in 1994, we got Love is a Gun. I just got around to seeing most of it. I didn't make it through the whole thing, but I got to say, you guys have really good chemistry in it from what I've seen so far. And I thought it was hilarious when Eric locks you in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Well, I have a story about that.
Call him ADD movie. Boy.
So I'm offered that movie by a producer of some renown, but I happen to be aware that he used to be a boyfriend of my wife's. But okay. He offers me this movie. I read it. I like it. Okay, I want to do it. But I like this part for you. I think you should play this love interest in this movie with me. Well, I can't just announce that I want the part, so you'll have to tell the producer of my ex-boyfriend that you want that, if you want that. Okay, so I'm on the phone with him talking about the script, blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, I want Eliza to play my girlfriend in the movie. He goes, that's not going to happen. I said, well, when that can happen, call me back.
Yeah.
And so he called me back about a week. Yeah, okay. And he let her be in the movie. Okay. And she stole the movie. I mean, she's fantastic.
Oh, she's excellent in it.
I know.
Well, there's another little twist to that story. First of all, he had cast me in a lot of things and wanted to use me. He couldn't because his wife was very sensitive to us having had a relationship. Mm-hmm. He was banking on that Eric would be sensitive to it and not want me to be around him.
Yeah.
But Eric was kind of over it. I'd be around him anyway because he'd be on set anyway most of the time. Mm-hmm. So he wanted me to do it, but he could not present that idea at home. Mm-hmm. That was going to be an issue. And his wife is a very famous actress, and she was going to be pissed off.
A typical actor telling a story. I think when I tell the story, it's about me.
Yeah.
He thinks to tell the story, it's about Kelly.
Yeah.
Preston?
Kelly Preston.
I know, but it has nothing to do with Kelly Preston.
I mean, about her being sensitive to the fact.
She was with John Travolta.
That's right. I'm sorry, I'm confused.
No.
Yeah, his wife.
They were friends. I know Kelly since Jimmy did Space Camp. Before that, actually.
Never mind.
Okay, but, that's why Jonathan, he wanted me to play the part too. He just didn't think he could pull it off and stay married.
Yeah.
And so then they had me on.
Sally.
Yeah.
Sally Kellerman.
Eric. Yeah, God.
Well, that was his wife.
I know, but it's not a good thing to do that. God.
Cut.
Anyway, edit that. But they had me audition, and I had to audition for that part.
Okay.
And auditioned, and everybody was like, "Come on, Jonathan," and Jonathan was like, "Yeah, obviously you have to play this." So, and we had the most wonderful time, Kelly and Eric and I and the director and stuff. It was pretty fun.
It was a fun shoot.
Mm-hmm.
It was really
The longest monologue I've ever learned is in that movie.
Jet was there, their baby, and that was when I talked Travolta into doing Pulp Fiction.
Oh my God, my favorite Tarantino for sure.
John showed up on the set and had a talk with her one day about, I've been offered to sing Pulp Fiction, but it's so violent. I don't know. And she, you got to do it, John. You got to this Tarantino guy. Everybody loves him. You got to do it.
Yeah.
So
because the person who made, you guys don't know this probably, the person who made Love Is a Gun also made Look Who's Talking. And I was an actress for that company and also head of casting and VP of talent and packaging. So we managed Travolta, and we created Look Who's Talking for him to bring his career back. Mm-hmm. And John is such a nice person. He wanted to stay with that kind of vibe, but there was no doubt that he needed to do the Tarantino movie. So yeah, that was funny.
And Eric's auditioned for Tarantino before, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
In the past.
Every movie he makes, I audition for him.
Just about.
Yeah. So what's his audition process?
Movie he makes, he says, "No, thank you, Eric Roberts."
That's not exactly how. What were you asking, Kellen?
I heard he's kind of like tough in the audition process.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's hardcore.
He's very OCD, is what he is. It's not that. Quentin is a visionary. He loves, and Eric's also exactly the person who that's what he does. He takes iconic actors, and at a time when there's a difference, they're in a different place in their career. Their star is shining a little, is being outshone by some other stars.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does. And and he loves Eric. He absolutely loves him. And everybody, people on the street are like, how have you not been in a Quentin Tarantino movie so far? Yeah. But what happens is, I'm not sure. I think we all have to examine ourselves psychologically. When the stakes are highest and the benefits we can reap are the greatest, is that when we are the best at sabotaging ourselves? Because we should stop that. And what happened was, like with Django and also with the other one where they're riding horses around and stuff. They shot it in Telluride.
Okay.
Anyway.
Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Hateful Eight. Yeah.
We were doing Suits and Lost Girl in Toronto, and Quentin wanted Eric to come. Vicky Thomas who's a genius, does his casting. And Quentin just wanted to talk to Eric about it and stuff. So we flew in, went to Quentin's house and spent a large part of the day there. And then he wanted him to audition again. And this was for Hateful Eight. And we literally flew. We brought Chris Daughtry with us because he was dying to meet Quentin. And Vicky was like, "You're crashing the audition with some guy." It was just. But then, as Quentin walked by the room where we were hanging out with Chris, he stopped, did a double take, hearing Chris Daughtry, and then Vicky felt better because
he likes his music.
Daughtry, he's a huge Daughtry fan.
Oh wow!
And of course, for Chris, that was a big. Chris is a sweetheart, and he's our friend, and Keaton's friend. But anyway, we literally shot in the morning in Toronto, both shows, flew to LA, did more auditioning for Quentin, got back on a plane, flew back to Toronto, and went straight to set. Yeah. And Toronto's clear across the country.
Yeah.
But full 5-hour flight.
But Eric, when he auditioned for Django at Vicky's office, and then again with Hateful Eight, Quentin had something very specific he wanted. It was just in terms of speed and volume and energy. He wanted this kind of hyper thing from Eric, which I think he got in his head from Pope. That's very not Eric. Yeah. And Eric saw it a different way.
Yeah.
What usually happens with Eric is he'll see it a different way and then kind of go through that, try it, and find his way to kind of merging with what the director wants. If it's
And
a
like
good
tweak it a little bit.
I always end up giving the director what he asked for, but I have to go through my process too. But I don't subject them to that.
But you did in this case. In this case, auditioning for Quentin is more like the first few days of work. You're already in the part. Eric just wouldn't sort of budge.
Yeah.
And I was listening at the door, Vicky, and we were dying because we heard what was happening. And we knew Eric could do whatever Quentin wanted and would do whatever Quentin wanted and just wouldn't do it at the moment he needed to do it to get the role. So then when he was doing Dark Knight, they hung out together a lot because Quentin happened to be in London at the same time.
Louder. And I couldn't
speak up.
Faster.
I was not loud. I was not fast.
Anyway, the point is, Don Johnson played one of the roles. Anyway, the point is, next time, don't do that.
I didn't know what's happening then.
Okay, but
he still has one more picture. He's got like the 10th film in the canon, apparently.
Okay, so is he going to be doing something?
Yeah, he's doing another one.
Okay, I'm going to write a note to him.
Yeah, we would love to see Eric in a Tarantino movie.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
No, but everybody.
Me too.
I've run into Tarantino several times. Never got to meet him, but I stood in front of him twice. And here's the
Next
last
time you have to say you're friends with Eric. Look, is that a picture of you guys? Oh yeah,
there
you
you are.
I photobombed him.
He's super wonderful, Kellen.
Yeah, sweet cat.
Closest I ever came to Tarantino was just when I was doing extra work for what was it? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And and you're what you said about how he's very like OCD and picky, you're not wrong about that. Yeah. He would look at all the extras, like we were all dressed as hippies.
Right.
Go figure. And he's just like, no, they need to lose this. It needs to look more authentic. And I get that. I totally get that. He wants something to be historically accurate. I mean, I probably would be the same way too.
Right. No, he knows exactly. He really hears it. It's like a symphony in his head. And you just have got to, you got to honor it because it's pretty magnificent. Even if there's certain things that are going to be a mistake, they have to be like his signature on them.
His films are all beautifully put together, and honestly, everything he writes too is fantastic. Like True Romance, Natural Born Killers. I mean, I love him.
It's one of my favorite screenplays I ever read.
Which one?
Django.
Brilliant.
Oh, yeah. A
masterpiece.
Oh man.
Another tough movie to watch, though.
Yeah, I can't talk about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And what was I gonna say? I don't know. I forgot. So back to Love Is a Gun. Eric, you have one of the most convincing fake puking scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Like literally, that made me sick watching that.
Wait. Okay, don't forget this. You need to go on YouTube, you guys.
Okay.
Look up something called Beautiful Pain, the movie.
Beautiful Pain. I'm doing it right now. All right, I'll
Beautiful
screenshot
Pain, the movie. It's very early in the movie. Eric even tops the throwing up scene in Love Is a Gun in his throwing up scene in Beautiful Pain, the movie. It's so real that I thought it was real.
But I owe all throwing up to Bob Fosse.
Really?
Here's why.
Did you puke in Star 80? I don't remember.
Bob Fosse says to me, when you're hang out the window and we pull you back in, I want you to throw up. I said, I'm out of breath. I want you to be able to gag. I said, I know myself. I won't be scared. I won't be able to. He said, okay, we're going to give you a mouth of minestrone soup.
Oh, no.
Okay. But the minestrone soup was not the vomit. The minestrone soup made me vomit. I mean, it was awful. I threw up all over myself and I couldn't stop. I was puking and puking and puking and puking. And I give one good ad lib. Oh, it's the only ad lib in Star 80, by the way. And it's this. That's a $400 suit. And that was my ad lib because I'd been amazed that morning to find out the suit I was wearing was $400. Yeah. I'm from a very poor background. I never had a $400 suit. So I was wearing a $400 suit. And I said that to myself, $400.
So that was real. That was all genuine reaction.
Who knew?
Wow.
Who knew?
It all worked.
My favorite.
I can't go near Minnesota suit ever since 1983.
I love that soup though. One of my favorite like general reactions to something happening in a real scene is Midnight Cowboy with Dustin Hoffman, where he's just like, I'm walking here That's probably my favorite, personally.
Somebody knocking.
And I had no idea going into it that Arlie Ermy was a part of that one. How was it working with him? How was he?
Lovely.
He's so great. I cast him in a lot of things too. What a trip. I mean, the guy's the real thing.
Yeah.
Not just an actor.
Oh, and the whole military experience.
Yeah.
You can go on YouTube too. They have his memorial service like on YouTube, like the whole tribute video they did for him, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I want to see that.
Yeah, it's like a half hour long too.
Did Arlie ever share any of his Vietnam stories with you? I think he served in Vietnam, correct?
He did share.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And not with me.
No. Yeah, he was incredible.
And then we also had Grant Kramer on the podcast a couple months ago, and I want to know, how did you like working with him? He just recently got off doing that last De Niro film, The War with Grandpa, which came out a few months ago.
Oh yeah.
He produced that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it was like executive producer or something.
Yeah, so he was great.
Mm-hmm.
Love him.
Did you see the kitty?
Sweetie pie.
Mm-hmm. Is that Stevie Nicks?
That's Stevie Nicks.
I remember.
That's good.
Okay, and my buddy here's got questions for the specialist.
Yeah, so me personally, I like any movie that's shot in South Florida because me personally, I'm a South Florida native actually.
Miami Vice.
Yeah, Miami Vice. But anyways, yeah. So this is like when you were starting to become like an action star, like people were starting to label you as an action actor, I would say. So like getting to work with two of the biggest action stars, James Woods and Sylvester Stallone, and she was just starting to break out into Hollywood too, Sharon Stone. Tell us about working with all three of them.
Well, they were all much bigger stars than you just presented them as.
Well, no, only Sharon.
She was a superstar. Jimmy Woods was.
He said they were action stars. Sly and Jimmy were action stars. No, Sharon. She had done that the Queen of Africa or whatever movie and got this terrible reviews. She's married to him.
That's right.
That's right. I had forgotten that because
Vegas Hotel Wars. And
for some reason, to me, she's always been a big star.
Afterwards, she did Casino and stuff.
But anyway,
I love Casino.
I loved working with her. I had heard horrible stories. You know, I've heard horrible stories about everybody, including myself. And I just loved her. But who I loved the most was Steiger, and he was just an immovable force. He was this great big dude physically, who had this perfect Cuban accent and this perfect performance, and only talked to me as his son in character, and was completely method. And I just fell in love with him. He was so cool. And one day, the second AD comes out to the pool where I'm hanging out with what's Steiger's first name? Rod Steiger with Rod, and the second AD says to 200 extras, "Now when Sly Stallone walks out here, don't make eye contact with him, okay?" So she goes away. Mm-hmm. Rod Steiger turns to me and he goes, "I can't wait." So here comes Sly. And Rod says, "Ladies and gentlemen, please go make eye contact with the great Sylvester Stallone." And he does. Oh yeah, it was not cool. It was not cool. I never stood up. I stayed seated very humbly, very quiet. Yeah, Rod was a riot, dude. He was a riot act. And so that was funny.
Yeah. Somebody just told me yesterday that in real life, Sylvester Stallone's kind of a man of a few words. He doesn't talk too much, like in between.
I've always had an easy time talking to him. He's very social. He's very sweet. He's very smart. Yeah. And he's very funny. Mm-hmm. He's a funny cat. And he's just likable, dude. He's a likable guy. He like catches so much grief because he's such a star and he's such a butch star. Rocky and Rambo. I mean, they're the biggest hits ever made, pretty much.
Yeah.
And he's a massive physical specimen in both those movies for is it 12 movies if you add all those up? 12 movies of
Rocky.
Rocky. There's so many, including
there's like
spin-offs with Creed.
Creed, yeah. If you include Creed, I think there's 8.
Yeah, and then there's
like
like 5
8,
Rambo
and then-
movies.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah.
who he, and yeah, I love him. I think he's fantastic. I think he's the American dream.
I like him in Copland too.
Oh, Copland's great.
Copland's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Would you say that, like, because obviously The Specialist, correct me if I'm wrong, was your first like explosive action film that you did? Like, so like, would you say this paved the way for you doing a lot more of like?
No, I had done maybe 50 B movies in Canada that were shoot 'em up movies. So I had done tons of bad movies. They're bam, 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 got him, and tons of those.
Well, a lot of that was after though, because remember, Specialist was pretty early in our relationship. And
what year is the Specialist?
The Specialist
94.
Specialist is 93. That's right, 93. Yeah, so I had not done that whole slew of B movie
that was the
action.
thing. That's
You're
what
right,
I
dude. Thank you for the steerage.
Yeah, of course.
The beginning of my action stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think about it because I've done so much since. Like this avalanche has happened since, and especially HD changed everything because HD now it took 3 months, takes 3 weeks, literally.
Yeah.
And it takes a month. Honestly, it takes 3 days now.
And a guy can just go on his computer and just put in all the graphics.
Done right. Exactly.
And and just on a side note, I think like the way action films were made back in the 80s and 90s, it's so much better than today. Like when they used blank rounds, they actually blew shit up, and it's so much better. It feels more real. It feels authentic. I wish people would do that still. I really do.
What happened to Hollywood? Artists ran Hollywood forever since silent film days. We had the big executives who weren't artists, but they liked the artists and they worked with the artists. Artists ran Hollywood. Now came the 80s, the end of the 80s came, and what happened? It like dropped off. Artists don't run Hollywood. Lawyers run Hollywood. So they took away film. They took our medium away, and they gave us HD because it's cheap and it's fast, and you don't have to be a technician to turn it on, an on switch. You just turn it on. That's all there is to it. And so the only thing more difficult is the actual focus. They have to stand at a monitor and to watch, they have to pull focus. It's very difficult. It's much harder now than it was on film. That's the only part of it that you have to have a talent for. All the rest of it is just switches. And they don't like the actors anymore. They like the sets and the actor walks through it. They don't like an actor anymore. So the DP's job is very different now, and everything moves at lightning speed.
Yeah. So
about The Specialist, here's a little martial arts tidbit for you.
Okay.
So you know how Eric wore his gi pants in Best of the Best, which was made by Marilyn, his wardrobe person.
Marilyn Manson Brands.
Yeah, she's an incredible designer and costume designer. So she made those high-waisted, those beautiful, they fall really nicely in black, and he had them in cream. And then when they were dressing him for The Specialist, which also David, the costume designer, was incredible.
He was an Oscar winner.
Yeah. So, but Eric requested, he said, you know what? I'd like to wear these gi pants, if you can make them for me, but we'll do a different color. And they decided on red. So those pants were the same pants that he wore they're up in the closet, that he wore in Best of the Best. He just, transferred that. I mean, it had nothing to do with the character, but it really worked. Remember those red pants?
I remember.
When he was out hanging out. We really were friends with Joan and Rod Steiger. Rod Steiger used to go out with my mom.
They dated.
Yeah. And we were friends. Joan, his wife, is a wonderful actress, his widow. But he was an amazing, amazing guy. We spent a lot of time with Gianni Versace there too. What's now a museum or a restaurant. It's his house.
His house is so
it's
cool.
It's a public place now.
Yeah, right. It's a museum now, but it was such a cool pad. And he was such a likable, easy, happy, sweet dude.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
Versace did a lot of wardrobe for movies too.
That movie.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
I actually forgot to ask about Best of the Best. You worked with that kid, Eden Gross, who was your son. Did you know that he actually ended up playing the good guy's voice in Chucky?
No,
You know, Keaton's best friend, Kellen, he and Keaton and Prairie grew up together.
Yeah, Morgan said she was friends with him. Yeah.
Yeah, very good friends with him. Yep.
Absolutely.
His mom is a cantor, which is very unusual for there to be a female cantor. That's the person in Jewish culture who sings all the tonal songs and stuff, and it's usually guys. It's a very sexist deal, or you know, historically. And his mom was a cantor. They're a trip. He's an amazing kid.
Oh, he was very talented.
I didn't know he's in Chucky.
He was when Chucky was done by Brad Dourif, obviously, but when it's just the doll talking and it's just like that childlike voice, that's him.
Right. It's Edon. That's funny.
Edon, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're now going to go into a topic. The big one I'm sure most people want to hear about is Dark Knight. So tell us. So one thing I do want to know, and I'm sure a lot of people want to hear about your experience with the late and the legendary Heath Ledger.
Okay, let me give you some background on how I got into that movie to start with.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I had heard they were making it. I said, "Oh, I want to be in that." And they said, "You can't be in that. It's offers only, and it's only bigger stars than you, buddy. Sorry, you're out."
And you were like, "I'm Eric Roberts."
Yeah, that's kind of what I said. But I'm Eric Roberts. And then
Don Papsadera cast it. He's wonderful and friend to this day.
And he said, "Well, there's one part they haven't cast yet, but you have to audition for it, and that's Sal Moroni." Sure, I'll audition, no sweat. So I go in. And I played the whole thing very New York.
So they're dummy sides, by the way. They didn't hand out not a single page of the script. So they were not even really from the script. But you know, go ahead.
So I go do this audition, blah 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 cut. Okay, and I go out with her and I say, "Well, I gave an audition. We'll see what happens." Okay, 1 month comes, 2 months pass, 3 months. I don't have the part. I went to somebody, God knows who. 4 months pass. We get a call. "Oh, by the way, that audition, we liked it. Would Eric like to be in the movie?" Well, sure. Why not? So that's how that came about. And then I'm in that movie, 12, 14, 15 minutes?
Overall, yeah.
I was on that. I was in that cast for 4 months.
It was Chicago, England. I mean, it went on and on and on.
But they told us, they said, "We're going to shoot at Pinewood in England." Now, I've shot at Pinewood half a dozen times. Yeah. No big hoopla, and it's a great place to work. A lot of pros, work there. It's going to be fun. We get there. No, we're not going to Pinewood. Shh, it's a secret. We're going to shoot at the old Zeppelin hangar that's 30 miles north of London. And the Zeppelin hangar is about 3 stories tall, about 3 football fields wide. And if you're a movie geek, which I am, you walk into it, open those doors, and it's all Gotham City. It blows your mind. And it was really, for a movie geek, it's heaven. And I got these great clothes I got to wear as the gangster, and it was fun to do. And Chris Nolan is your typical old world leader. Show business is a fascist system. You have a dictator and everybody else, and that's his set. You have him, and then all of us who
him and his wife Emma. Runs the show.
They're co-bosses.
Yeah. And you said old school. I mean, Chris is a young seeming guy, but it is very traditional and works. But he asked about Heath. Do you want to tell him about Heath?
He's one of the sweetest, most normal cats in the world. I've been told, don't approach Keith. He's in character. He's in character. And I'm like,
yeah.
But he wasn't like that at all. We had to run through the scene where all the bad guys are all together, and he has a 3-page monologue where he talks and talks. Then he puts a pencil through the guy's hand, and we had a rehearsal, and he gets through it all once, and he looks at it all and goes, "How am I doing?" And we all cracked up and applauded. And he was just a sweetie pie, and he was really normal, not at all pretentious, and he was an actor working, and
he was a powerhouse.
Did Morgan ever tell you about going to the premiere with us at Universal City?
No, she did not.
Yeah, she sat next to Nolan. It was pretty funny because, like you were talking about, actors not liking to watch themselves.
Yeah.
So, and Dark Knight's a long movie and it's pretty dense. And, we were there shooting it. We already shot it. So but we went,
Yeah,
and
of
we
course.
brought her. And so the way we ended up seated, it was somehow like Emma, Nolan, Emma, Chris, Eric, and me, something like that. And
Okay.
at a certain point, really early in the movie, because we'd already done the carpet and everything, whatever you had to do.
Yeah.
Eric says, in a really loud whisper, "Can we go yet?" And Morgan, my dog, mortified. She leans over. She's like, "Mom."
Eric
Stuff
can't
a
talk
fistful of popcorn in his mouth or something, please.
Eric
Because is he not aware that Chris Nolan is sitting right? Eric just walk out in the dark night like that. No, Mom, please.
Oh
It was
my
so
God.
funny, and I was like, Eric.
No, but that movie, I mean, everybody contributes to that movie, but that movie I think was made in how it looks. Wally, what's Wally's last name?
Yeah. No, Wally. Wally.
Fisher?
Yeah, I think so.
Fisher?
It's
Anyway,
not Fisher. It's
Wally
Fitzer or something.
Fitzer. I think that's
Yeah.
What's the
DP.
DP's name
Of Dark Knight.
Pfizer.
Wally? Wally.
Dark Knight.
Yeah, Fitzer or something like that.
Wally Feister.
Okay, that's good. Wait, one of those.
Anyway,
Sorry.
Just
that movie looks like no other movie I've ever seen before or since, and it's got a look that is captivating.
Oh,
And
100%.
That's what made that movie for me, was the look of it. Oh my God, what a beautiful movie!
I think that scene that you do with, the guy gets his hand stabbed and everything, I think that's one of the best scenes of the last 20 years. Like if you had to make like a list of a couple hundred scenes, I mean, I think it would make it.
Oh, it's iconic.
It's iconic, big time.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite scene of that movie.
Well, that's what got us together with Daughtry, by the way, because he and his kids are huge Dark Knight fans.
Yeah.
His kids starting when they were way too young to be huge Dark Knight fans. And so we found each other on Twitter. It was so funny. He's like, I can't believe it. It was so cute because we idolized him and he idolized us. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, that movie. But we learned a lot about that movie from him. It's a very, you don't get it in the first reading or the first viewing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more to it. So, it's a real study, that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, and the thing is, like, I think that this is just my personal opinion, but I'm sure a lot of people will agree that The Dark Knight is probably one of the best films in the DC universe. And of course,
yeah,
the whole mob meeting scene, it's become such an iconic scene. It's like known to so many people. And hey, you got to be a part of it. That's not many people get to say that.
And Ledger has so many great films like Lords of Dogtown,
absolutely.
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
I Hate About You. I mean, he had such a good career, and Monsters Ball with Billy Bob Thornton. I love that one.
True.
Yeah.
All true.
Just an amazing actor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you also got to like even do that scene with Michael J. White. Like, did you interact with him a lot?
Michael J. White and I are buddies.
Yeah.
I
He's
love
amazing.
it.
He's amazing.
Great cat, man. He's really sweet, really humble, really normal, really fun to be around. It's a good cat.
Yeah, no, he's a legend. I'm a huge fan of his work too. But and then of course the drop scene. Like, how did that? So I definitely want. So let me guess, a stuntman with the falling, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
But that was so funny. From this height, the fall won't kill me. That one, right? There's some real sardonic stuff they gave to Eric's character that was really fun to play.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Yeah. So this kind of leads into 2 years later, of course, The Expendables. So, because this was like labeled to be like the first action movie with so many action stars in one film. So how were you approached on this?
Well, let me tell you a story. When I did the Specialist with Sly, there was one night that I was not working that he was, and it was an exterior, so we could go watch. So I said to my wife, let's go watch him shoot the scene tonight. Let's just go up in the crowd and watch him, not tell anybody we're there. She goes, okay. So we have dinner and we walk around a bit. It's Miami, it's nice. We go to the set, there's a big crowd there watching the scene, and we're watching the scene in the crowd, and it's Sly and Sharon, and suddenly out of nowhere, Sly goes, hey, Eric. And I said, what's up, pal? He goes, yeah, I was thinking about it. He knew I was there the whole time, but I didn't know that. He goes, I've been thinking about it. We don't have a scene together. I said, so write one. He goes, okay, I'll write one. We'll shoot it tomorrow. I thought that sounds stupid, but okay. Anyway, he writes the scene, and it's a scene where I put the knife to his eye. They were walking on the street together, and it's a cool scene. I get to be a badass with Sly Stallone. It's fun to shoot. Blah blah blah. Okay, then cut to our next movie together, and it's Expendables, and I've got the best monologues I've ever had as a bad guy. I've got 4 of them. They're fantastic, and I have one that I really treasure. That's with Dolph Lundgren, where I take Dolph Lundgren heroin. He's a junkie, and I keep him junked up, so he will do things that I need done to mess up the Expendables. Okay, great little side story and everything. Great monologues. Oh my God, I love this part. Blah blah blah. Okay, we're going through the movie, and we shoot one of the monologues at the end when I die, but we don't shoot the other 3. And we're getting close to the end, and I finally say to Sly, when are you going to shoot these other monologues, especially on with Dolph? And he goes, oh, we're not. And I said, why? And he goes, hey, it's not an Eric Roberts movie. And so, you know, you don't know. You don't know. He was a best friend to me, and then he was my boss. He was not my best friend anymore. You know, writing scenes for me. Mm-hmm. And it broke my heart because it was the best monologue I'd ever had as a bad guy, and I never got to do it.
Well, if it's worth saying, I think you play a fantastic bad guy, and you are so badass on film. I just want to flat out say it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, but I get a lot of help from my friends, like Sly Stallone. I mean, what a great director! What a great director! Mm-hmm. Did you watch how that movie's cut?
Yeah,
crazy.
Expendables is one of the lessons in editing of all action movies. Watch how it's cut. It's unbelievable.
The cinematography is just outstanding. I mean,
Wally.
Yeah.
That was also Wally, right?
No, that was the Expendables was.
That wasn't
no. It wasn't. It was another huge DP who I love, and we loved his wife. And now I'm forgetting. Oh, how can I forget his name? Well, they can look it up. Who's the DP on Expendables, guys?
DP.
James, was his name James? Oh God.
Jeffrey Kimball.
Yes.
Yeah, Jeffrey Kimball. Oh yeah, I've heard Jeffrey before too. Yeah, right. Yeah, Jeffrey's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's also the real deal.
Yeah. And cinematography is it's like obviously
key.
I'm sure you already know. It's there's always the key parts for film, and cinematography is definitely a huge key thing.
It really is.
But that movie Expendables, watch how it's edited. The first one especially, watch how it's edited. Mm-hmm. Blow your mind. He's brilliant at that. Mm-hmm. It comes across like it's a truly great film because the editing is unbelievable.
Yeah, and your death scene, obviously, like the blade, it's like CGI. Like they insert that in. You just imagine that it's like going through you.
No.
Yeah, how did they do the blade?
I did that.
Oh,
really? How?
Of course, it's CGI.
No, because I didn't know at the time if it was a practical effect or like.
Yeah, was it practically anything there?
I do this. Oh, and then he goes, "Okay, do it shorter." So I do. Oh.
Yeah, no.
You're stretching it too long. Oh, no, I gotta be faster. That's the only thing that I had to do.
Yeah. So like, even like you being labeled as an action star, like back when you were like starting to do all those action films, did you ever go back and watch like all the other guys like Jeff Speakman or Van Damme or Seagal, like any of those guys?
I watched them all just for pleasure, not research, because I like those kind of movies. And I especially when the acting is really bad, I really enjoy them because I understand everything, and I understand we have this guy who is not an actor, but who's the star of a movie because he's a great martial artist, and I get to watch that, and it's so much fun for me. It's just a blast because I can pretend to be one and I am the other. So I've got it made as far as I'm concerned. And it's just fun to watch these guys. And also you have to give, Van Damme credit. That's a split and a half, dude. That's a split and a half.
Big time.
Yeah.
So let's go to Kellen. Do you have any additional questions?
Yeah. So Eliza, I want to know, I know you were very close with one of my heroes, Jim Varney. I'd love to hear more about your relationship with him in the industry and any stories you could tell about your time as his friend.
Well, Jim Varney, that's Ernest. Yeah,
I know.
Ernest P. Worrell.
As a casting director, I noticed, and just as a person, that a lot of times if somebody was capable of doing extreme comedy, they were also amazing at drama. Robin Williams, Adam Sandler, Jim Varney. Whereas the opposite is not always true. Some of the great dramatic actors just are never funny. Some of them are. Alec Baldwin, Meryl Streep. Eric is sometimes funny and sometimes inadvertently really, really funny. And sometimes just deliberately really funny. But it's harder to get comedy out of a dramatic actor. So I was casting something. I wish I remembered what it was. I was on staff casting at Warner Brothers Television, which was called Lorimar under Les Moonves then. And we cast, Friends and, big shows. And there was a drama and it took place, it might've been I'll Fly Away, which was David Chase's show before The Sopranos. And we needed a kind of a Southern guy. It was a really intense role. And the kids were watching Ernest movies all the time. And I thought that guy can do this role and it'll be really unexpected casting. I want to do this because I loved crossover casting. Casting musicians and dramatic and as actors, athletes as actors. Sometimes it didn't work. I coached Michael Bolton for a long time and I got there as an actor. But I cast Roger Daltrey, for instance. And, there's a lot of that. So Varney, I went to his manager and just said, I want to, now he was an unknown quantity with this kind of intense drama. So I thought, God, he's going to have to audition. So I got to see the ego, So I go to his manager, whatever, and he called me. His manager and agent were friends of mine. And he called, he's like, what is this you're talking about? And I explained what I just explained to you. I was like, I think we can do this. He's like, honey, nobody would think of me for that. I love you. He said, do you know that I have a background as a real actor, like on stage? And I am that. Like, this will be actually bringing me back to my roots. Nobody wants to remember that because they just think I'm Ernest. I said, look, it's promotable because you're Ernest. And also it'll be really fun. So he was staying at, I guess, the Peninsula, some hotel on West 3rd or something. He happened to be in town. And he said, let's work on it. Let's see if we can make it so that it can be an offer, not an audition. But I don't want to embarrass you or myself or piss them off or anything. Let's just talk about it. And I went, of course, I brought my kids because he was Ernest and stuff. And we immediately became really good friends. Immediately. Everything in our families, our kids, our parents, our background, the things we've been through. And he was a fascinating, absolutely brilliant person. One of the smartest people. I mean, you could ask him anything about astronomy and, the Big Bang and the physics. I mean, he was just incredible. He had some amazing jewelry. He was so far from Ernest. And he was thinking of giving up Ernest way before he did. And I advised against it. I said, there's no reason to. Broaden, instead, embrace more, get the word out that you want to do more. But there's no reason to kind of bite the hand that feeds you. I mean, the fact is, let's see what happens if you just kind of start doing both and whatever. And I'm telling you, the community was totally into him as a dramatic actor. And he was just absolutely wonderful. He became part of our family. And then I'm not sure if I was with Eric already. I think I wasn't even with Eric yet, but I knew Eric, but I don't think we were together. But I ended up introducing them. Of course, he loved Eric's work and stuff, but he was a really, really good friend. He was a very serious person, very serious. Like some people, like John Ritter was funny also, just as John. And Jim was sometimes, but a lot of times he wasn't. I mean, he went through stuff and he was very intense.
He was very self-conscious too, I heard.
Yeah, it's funny. He never was around me. I
Okay.
heard that also. I mean, just never. He was the opposite. Maybe that's why we connected so quickly.
Mhm.
I think part of it was I had the kids around and he just wasn't self-conscious around the kids or anything. Yeah, he did not think he didn't realize he was attractive. Anybody that talented is massively attractive.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it didn't matter that he played Ernest and whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, he didn't think that's funny. He didn't think of himself as being attractive. And I never could get over that. I thought he was so just so magnetic and so fascinating.
Mhm.
But you're right. He didn't realize that about himself.
Mhm.
But I never saw any self-consciousness there. I'm sure it was there.
It's in his nephew Justin Lloyd's book on him, which I think it's called The Importance of Being Earnest.
Oh yeah, what a great idea to call it that. I'm gonna read the book. I'm sure I'll learn stuff I didn't know.
I can let you borrow it. I have a copy, and he's actually they're developing a documentary on him right now that not a lot of people know about, but I guess it's got footage from that last Ernest movie he did, Ernest the Pirate.
Yeah.
And it's gonna have a lot of just unseen footage of him. So I'm
did you get interested in him from being a little kid and seeing the Ernest movies, or what?
I was probably like too young to even remember, but yeah, I've been watching Ernest since day one.
Yeah, Kellen's the one that introduced me to Ernest. If it wasn't for him, like I probably wouldn't know who Ernest was. But like we even like 3.5 years ago, we went through Kentucky and
Lexington. We visited his grave.
Yeah, and then we visited one of the filming locations for Ernest Goes to Camp.
Ernest Goes to Camp in Tennessee. We visited the camp.
Well, the thing about it is, it was really genius stuff. I mean, it just looked fun and silly for kids on the surface, but it wasn't. There was a lot more to it. I love that it goes from generation to generation because it definitely should.
Well, that's what makes movies classics.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the generational jump.
He was very needy. I don't know if it says that in the book. But
it mentions a lot of weird stuff like the self-conscious thing. I guess he didn't like the way his nose looked at one point, and he got like
he had a big thing about that. I know, and that's what I mean. Like he didn't see himself the way that other people saw him.
And he got in a really bad car accident too at one point. I can't remember what exactly happened, but it was bad.
Right. I can't even remember how he died. I was very upset when he died. How did he die?
Cigarettes, smoking,
lung cancer, probably.
Yeah, that was a bit that you were kind of told not to hassle him about smoking. Like that was one of the first things that he'd say. He'd be like, "You're not going to tell me anything I don't know."
Yeah.
Just going to get in the way of our relationship.
And he died of it. Oh.
Yeah.
Apparently when he learned that he had lung cancer, he immediately threw him away and just decided he's done, but it was too late.
It was too late.
Sad.
Unfortunate.
But Eric, I have to tell you something. Both of my parents, within maybe a week of each other, saw you in that bathtub commercial for American Standard. and both called me up and told me they saw you. And I was like, "You're joking." And so I looked it up, and it was basically one of the highlights of my year. So what was shooting that like?
Okay. Before we get into that, if we're going to discuss this, I want your participation in something, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did that commercial.
Okay.
For the fact they were going to gift me one of those tubs.
Oh, they didn't?
Okay. I have a little grandchild on the way, so I have a little tub downstairs for my wife to have with the grandchild, to bathe the grandchild, so it's easy, open doors and stuff, easy getting in and out of with the kid, right? Blah.
Yeah.
Sure, for that ad, sure, for that tub, sure. They never gave me that tub.
What?
Why?
They never gave me that tub. So what I would like done is to have some young hip kid who knows how to do this get on the internet and say they never gave Eric that tub.
I will literally drive there right now to their house.
Yeah, because, I'm not going to sue them. I'm not going to pay lawyers' fees, have a lawyer deal with it. I'm not going to check the bathtub. I'm just not going to do it. But
was that in the contract?
No, it was all verbal.
Not at all.
Okay.
But I would like to have the tub.
Yeah.
And so any way we can embarrass them with your help, I'll take.
No,
I'm sure that commercial sold many tubs, so they'd kind of owe you.
Of course it has.
It was very fun to shoot it.
It was hilarious.
Directed by Bruce Summers, which is Suzanne Summers' son, who's a dear friend. We love him.
Great cat.
Okay.
We loved the tub people. We loved the ad agency, and we loved the tub people. That's really my fault. We shot it on Eric's birthday, and they ordered a bunch of vegan, sugar-free baked donuts for him for his birthday. And we had a birthday celebration on the soundstage. It was so hilarious. We love flying in the face of everybody who's going to be like Eric Roberts, Oscar nominee for Runaway Train, doing a walk-in bathtub to commercial. How can you do? We love that. We're just like, yes, yes, yes. Let's try it all. Do it all. So that was the perfect example. We get hilarious phone calls from all kinds of people.
Birthday donuts. It was a great day.
My step-wife-in-law, which is my ex-husband's, he's my really good friend, wife. She just loves every time she sees the commercial. She just loves it. I'm sure partly because it makes Eric really silly and me too, but who cares? It's a fabulous product. And it's a good product. Very expensive product. It's very political in commercials. Everyone has to talk to everyone who has to talk to everyone. I was supposed to stay in close touch with this one woman, and I never lose information, but I had like one letter wrong in her email address and could not reconnect with her. And Bruce tried to help me. I'm sure she just thought I dissed her, and that's so unfortunate. That's how come we never got the tub.
Well, I want one.
But
we got to get you a tub.
We were
get Eric the tub.
We were shooting a documentary for Sam Kashner, who wrote the Vanity Fair article on Eric, and Spike Carter, which is Graydon Carter, owns Vanity Fair. His son, who's a documentary filmmaker. We were shooting that documentary. What they were doing was following Eric around from all the different kinds of projects that he does. You know how important it was that they were on that set shooting behind the scenes for that? Because it's like the day before they'd been shooting behind the scenes for Dark Knight, and the juxtaposition. And it was so fun and funny that, and Eric made the most of it. He really did. He doesn't even take baths. I do, but
I want to. I have a shower that doesn't
shower. Yeah, I only shower.
Yeah. I wish I had a bathtub. So I love your little cameo in Larry the Cable Guy when you come on the TV commercial for Brother Sweet Brother, the killing of Stanton Street, or Stanton Suite. How'd you land this gig? Was it just offered to you?
Jim Carrey is a friendly acquaintance, and he said, "Will you be in my movie?"
Not how it happened at all.
No.
We were premiere on the internet of a movie with Ben Stiller.
He is a friendly acquaintance.
But we had met him. He's become a friendly acquaintance. He's a very big fan of my mom's, and he's a fan of Eric's. But he didn't even know Eric was going to be in the movie. So, he found out and he was happy.
Yeah.
So we were with Ben Stiller at a premiere, and Morgan was with us actually.
Okay.
And we were talking to Ben because my mom and Ann Mira were collaborators. They wrote and produced and were in many shows together.
Best friend.
And we're still really close with Amy, and we're friends with Ben. So we're just talking family stuff. And Ben said, "You know something?" And Eric said, "We need to do something together. I need to do more comedy." And Ben's like, "I love you, man. You know what?" He said, "I'm doing this thing with Jim Carrey, and I have this character. It's just going to be a cameo where the guy's going to play you're going to play two characters, two twin brothers who are night and day, Jekyll and Hyde."
Yeah.
I was going to have Matthew Perry do it. He said, "But screw it. Why don't you do it?"
I remember that now. That's true.
And Eric's like, "Okay." And I think it was Matt Perry who was going to do it. And he's like, "I don't want to take any work away from Matt or whatever." And Ben was like, "I think Matt's doing okay. I wouldn't worry about it."
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, we were doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent.
All true. I can back that up. That's all true story.
That's amazing. And I'm really happy to see Jim Carrey's coming back around. He was gone for a bit, but
yes,
I'm happy to see he's coming back into film and stuff.
Eric was on Kidding, and my mom was on Kidding.
Oh, he was? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I want to check that out. I've been wanting to see
you got to
that.
check out Eric on Kidding.
Yeah, I heard that's a really good show.
You'll love it.
So here's the last round of questions we got for you guys. What is the single most thing you're both proud of within your careers? Is there one film or one role that really encapsulates your love for what you do and what you're most proud of?
I'll let you answer that first.
Okay.
schlock.
For me, I mean, of course, it's Animal House to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But in terms of like work as an actor, it would be more Love Is a Gun. We just did a short film called Andronicus. I think for me, maybe that's my most proud work.
Okay.
I finally did get to take that shirt off, and let me tell you, it's at this age and everything, it was very challenging. But it became not challenging. That's what's amazing, is that you just get swept into it. The work I love the most of Eric's is Final Analysis and It's My Party. Those are my favorite Eric movies. I think they're just have so much delicious, subtle, incredible stuff. And then there's a lot of moments and a lot of little obscure things, you know. Even a little movie that we both, or this little series that we both did called Class Act. And he plays a drama teacher. He's hilarious. I don't think he realizes how funny he is. So
you know, speaking of another movie that I thought he was really funny in is Spun.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You're really funny in Spun.
I got a story about Spun for you.
Yeah.
So they offered me that movie. We're gonna reunite you and Mickey. Yay! Okay, here we go. And here's what I like your body, so I want your shirt off, and you're gonna have these hot chicks, and you're a speed dealer, and you're a wheeler and a dealer, blah blah blah. I said that sounds great, but you know what? It's been done 150,000 times.
Yeah.
Let's go the opposite, and let's have me with like ruffles and everything, and I have a boy, and oh my God, I sell speed to Mickey Rourke because he's the best guy in the world, and all this, and blah blah blah.
Liberace.
Yeah,
so
Liberace, basically. And the director, I have to give him credit. He said, "I love the idea, do it."
Yeah.
And he
Jonas
allowed
Ackerman.
What's his name?
Jonas Ackerman.
Jonas Ackerman. He allowed me to go that completely 180 degrees from how they had intended it, and I had a good time doing it.
We took care of Mickey's dog the whole time. We had to babysit for the dog.
Took care of the dog.
Yeah, that movie is just a total trip. That and Requiem for a Dream are both like total drug movies that are just nuts.
Yeah,
that ending to Spun.
Yeah.
First time I saw it, whoa! It really got me off guard, dude. Not cool. Oh man, yeah, it really shocked me.
That's excellent.
When you know how it ends, it's not at all a surprise. But when you don't know, and the first time I saw it, I didn't know. So I'm not going to say it's on. People
go check out Spun.
God, it caught me. Woo!
Well, what about? Well, okay, Eric, what are you most proud of? Like, what's the proud?
Yeah, what's like the main movie?
I've done 2 movies called Miss Only Hearts. The first movie called Miss Only Hearts, based on the Nathaniel West novella, Miss Only Hearts, where I played the Miss Only Hearts, the Dear Abby guy. Miss Only Hearts, Star 80, Love Is a Gun, It's My Party. Those are and maybe Pope Greenwich Village. Those movies are my favorites I've ever done. Yeah. But my best piece of work as an actor doing something very difficult that I think I pulled off was in the first Miss Only Hearts, based on the Nathaniel West novella. That was the hardest, most thankless part to play well. And I was very proud of my performance in it.
I'm gonna have to check that one out. What's the weirdest fan encounter you both have endured? If you got one. I know you definitely told me you've been stalked at least once.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
This isn't really a fan story, except it's a story. I met a screenwriter many years ago who introduced me I went to his house in Virginia, and he introduced me to an English producer who was supposedly producing the film and had produced several real movies that had been real movies in the past. So he was the real deal. He was legit. But anyway, and this writer was married to this very wealthy woman whose grandmother, I believe, had owned more stock in the New York Stock Exchange than any other individual in the history of the stock exchange. So she's very from lots of money. Anyway, and he was kind of a weird guy in that he had little like tics and weird things. He'd been in Vietnam. He'd been in special forces. He had seen combat. He'd seen a lot of stuff that's hard to deal with, and he had tics and weird stuff about him. But he was a brilliant guy. Well, he wanted me to be in this movie of his, as being produced by this English cat, blah, blah. So he has me to his house. I meet him, we talk about the movie, blah, blah, blah. Well, it turns out, many years later, I found out from a guy who was in Vietnam with him that the movie was never going to really happen. It was all because his wife had a crush on me and wanted to know me. JC.
I didn't know
and that's how it was kind of set up. And so I went down there and spent my holidays with him, always discussing
this phantom film.
Yeah. And but it never happened. And when I found that out, I sent away for some intoxicants and went about my business in my life.
Wow, crazy. Well, one thing that happens, that's because yes, we've had stalkers, and the stalkers have found the kids, and it's like not good.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, like really weird, weird stuff. We just recently got a weird series of letters, and you have to take them to people and they analyze whatever. But one thing that's funny with fans is I always feel you have to really, really respect your fans. It's very important, you know. But one thing, and we do become friends sometimes. And we always are interested in their stories. But one thing that's really funny is if Eric and I, if we're like in an airport or whatever, this happens a few times a week, or at the market. I mean, obviously before quarantine and before COVID, fans get so focused that it doesn't matter what you're doing. Like I've been there sometimes where it's like my mom, my sister, my niece, and Eric and me, and the people zero in on him. And like, especially when Eric and I are alone, you could die, you could drop dead right there and they wouldn't notice. They'd be like, you could be standing right next to Eric dying, and they are just like, oh my God, Eric, I can't believe it. So Eric, if you ever say hi to your sister, and if you ever come over to Kentucky or whatever, come over, okay? And it's like, I just died over there.
Yeah.
Did you notice? Hello. It's just hilarious because there's times when he's standing there and somebody's totally focused on him, and we'll be like late for a plane, and I'll say, honey, they're boarding, that they boarded, they closed the doors.
Yeah.
And there's just nothing, zero happening. The person doesn't go, oh my God, I guess you have to go. But, I'll be like, well, I'm going to go. So you just bye. See ya.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, that is true.
Hilarious.
Especially in airports when I'm recognized and it blows their minds. Oh my God, Eric Roberts. Everybody that I'm with vanishes. They don't see anybody I'm with or see anything I'm doing or see the fact that I'm late to walk on a plane.
Yeah.
And they have their moment. And they have their camera now, because everybody has a camera now.
Yeah.
So they have to have the picture.
Yeah. And they sneak it.
So, and I will only let them take some selfies so it doesn't involve another person, because then they have to get somebody else and blah, blah, blah. And well, how to do this, how to do that. And so only selfies, but I let them all take selfies. And that's
But people do, if you're on a soap opera or something, it's crazy because you get confused for your character. And
people think you are
that really happens. And I have had, when Eric was on Young and the Restless, because he's done a couple of soaps, and also even from the Stalked by My Doctor series, I have had people who are obviously a little off tell me to get out. It's like, you can't do this. You've got to understand he's not what he seems to be. And it's like, yes, he's not that doctor because it's pretend.
Yeah.
So sure, where people give advice or they're very angry with you or they pass out because they see you.
Yeah.
That happens.
For many years, from like 1982 or 3 to 1992 or 3, I'd be walking in the street in New York City.
Yeah.
And I would see myself be recognized by somebody walking towards me, and they would see who I am and they would recognize me. Oh my God, and they would cross the street. They would stop and cross the street. And I would see that happen probably twice a day.
Wow.
People thought I was the crazy guy that they associated with me from the movies. And no. And they crossed the street, especially women.
Really?
In fact, only women, really. Yeah, they would they would very suddenly run. Yeah. It was subtle. It was not an announcement. Aaron Roberts, you know. It wasn't that. But it was, you know, oh, that's him. I don't want to walk past him.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
The only weird celebrity experience that I've had where they were kind of rude to me was years ago, and my buddy here was with me. Christy Swanson. We met her at a convention.
Oh my God.
And I swear to God, I go up to this girl. I ask her one question about working with Adam Sandler on Big Daddy, because, you know, he's like my favorite person in the world.
Yeah.
And basically, I just asked her the one question about working with him, and she goes, "Oh, it was all right. Are you gonna buy anything?"
Oh my God! What was that? God,
she literally said it like that.
I was like, I kind of didn't know what to say at that moment. I was just like,
almost burst out laughing. I was like, did that just happen? And like, there were two people behind us in line. I wasn't even wasting our time. You know, it was a bummer.
Terrible. I'm sorry.
It was funny. So I was just going to ask, is the Oscars all that? Like, is it fun to attend? I've heard some people say it's tedious and boring to sit through while others amp it up. I'm curious what your experience is going to those kind of events.
Okay, the Oscars, you get the Oscar nomination and you're a nominee for a month.
Okay.
For that month, you're everybody's favorite actor you ever talked to, and you're going to win the Oscar, and everybody voted for you. Yeah. And you feel that. You feel great because it's the greatest honor there is in movies. And we all want to be in movies. We all have our Oscar speech ready since we're 8 years old, you know. Yeah. And it's just, I can't believe it. Oh my God, I got an Oscar! And then you put on your tux and you go to the Academy Awards, and it takes forever. And the winner is somebody else.
Oh man! And
you realize when it's somebody else that you wanted to win, but you don't know that up until it's somebody else. You're very satisfied with the nomination. And even after the fact, because we nominees get all the extras and all the invites every year for the rest of our lives, as all the winners do. Mm-hmm. So we're like treated forevermore as a nominee. So we're like treated as a winner, and we get special invites to everything because we were nominees once. Mm-hmm. And so it is the greatest experience you can have once.
I see.
I've only had it once. Mm-hmm. So it was great once. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that I wanted to win up until I didn't. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that I did. Mm-hmm. And I was bothered by the fact that I lost to somebody who's a wonderful actor, likable, lovable, good in the role that he won for and everything. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he deserved maybe an Oscar, but I deserved an Oscar.
And so, who was this person? Are you able to say?
Don Amici.
Don Amici.
Okay.
And he was fine. He was great. He was lovable. He was good. It's a great movie. It's a really good movie. Mm-hmm. But I was better, and I knew it then now. And I miss my Oscar. And the thing about it is, it's like Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. Now you always think, well, I'll be back, but you might not.
Mm-hmm. Well, you are one of the most prolific actors in the industry, so you're constantly working. You know, the chance is still there.
Yeah, we'll see. Absolutely.
I think it's going to happen.
About attending those things, it's kind of a pain in the butt. I mean, you know, you realize when you're there how amazing it is. You look around you and who's there and all that. But, you know, you have to be really dressed up. It's usually too hot or too cold or raining. It's a lot of traffic, a lot of slow moving, a lot of uncomfortable high heels, a lot of, you know, having to pee, but you got to sit there, a lot of, a lot of that kind of stuff where you just, you know, you're going to be judged, and, you know, it's very social, and that's exhausting.
Yeah.
In the seat right in front of me was John Huston, the actor, director, and, you know, mostly director. And, he had been nominated for the movie with Jack and his daughter, Angelica Houston. What's the movie called?
Not the Two Jakes.
I forget, but anyway, he was nominated for that. And every category, every nominee, every winner, he had something to say.
Oh no!
Was entertaining. I had the most entertaining Oscars anybody could possibly have because I sat behind John Huston, who had an opinion on everything.
That's awesome.
Right.
I love that.
Unreal. Yeah. So I have a question for you, Eliza. So based on what Kellen has told me, like you're an acting coach. So I'm actually curious. What encouraged you to become a coach?
Yeah, right here.
Halle Berry to George Clooney, to all kinds of people. But I'm not a bad actor. But she's this magnificent coach that I would take stuff to her just as my girlfriend, as my friend. I would say, help me with this. And I would get these incredible notes where I would realize, oh, I got something here that is like handy. And she's probably the greatest. And I've been a member of the actor studios since I'm 19 years old. I've got notes from Lee Strasberg, all kinds of people I've gotten notes from. This is my favorite note giver. She's unbelievable. And she really has straightened out a lot of my performances. And but what was the question?
Well, what made me sort of get into it? It was very natural because as an actress, then during my pregnancy with Keaton, I was on a series and the casting director got cancer. We just had a few episodes left. A lot of my friends I brought in and they'd gotten the roles and they asked me to just finish casting the series. And I was like, I'm an actress, I'm not a casting director. But to me, that makes sense. Just like a director, an actor who directs. They said, well, we'll teach you, we'll get you through it. And, you know, I became a casting director and actress at the same time. I never, because of my sensitivity to actors, I never just would have somebody sit there and I would sit there and listen to them and say, thank you. I would work with them. Because, you know, auditioning is the worst circumstances you can think of for acting.
Oh, I can imagine.
I want to make it better. So I would work with them and I just was like, I love this. And it came really naturally. And then the people I worked with would, you know, it kind of worked out for them. A lot of them became really established actors. And so,
you know, like George, like Halle.
Yeah, so people started recommending me and then it just happened. It was an offshoot. And certainly with Eric, as you say, because once in a while he has to audition still. Or again, you know, or whatever. I mean, that happens to everybody. And I just I would see him working on something and I just have some ideas. At first I wouldn't do that. I was just like, who would give this guy, suggestions? Are you kidding? He's a genius.
Yeah.
But we got really comfortable. And
especially since HD in the old days, like let's say the Pope of Greenwich Village. I was on that movie in January of that year, and I started to shoot in September. Now I'm off the movie on a Friday night. They'll start to shoot on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, that's great.
So I have to go to her. I run to her and say, I need your help. We got to do this. And she helps me break it down. She helps me run lines. She helps me. And that's my coach. That's my in-house director. And that's my partner, you know, so.
And basically a director. And, you know, because you want something to be lived in. You want to feel, you don't want to 6 months after you've played the role, think of what you would have done with the role. You know, you have to figure out, you have to figure out how to compress that process. And sometimes having someone you trust that can work, especially because my background is mostly comedy.
Yes.
And
my background is all drama.
And yet he's required to do stuff sometimes that he may not have an automatic ear for. And so that's why.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, and that's what it is. Cause you know, like a lot of actors, I'm sure they go back and they say, oh, I should have done that there. I could have done this. And you know, that's the worst feeling you could have as an actor or even as a musician or a performer. You go back and you say, damn it, I should have done that instead, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what makes you better, you know?
Absolutely.
You know, failures, successes, you know, it's just doing it over and over and over again. That's what makes you better.
Yeah. So my last question for both you and both Eric and Eliza, what is the most memorable moment you have ever had on a set together? Well, or if it was a separate set on that matter.
Okay. Memorable moment on set.
Could be anything.
I think maybe it's a very self-oriented moment, but it's this. I'm doing my first movie, and I get a rewrite of a scene where my mother and my sister find me. I've been hiding for years, and they find me, and they tell me to come home, and I have a little temper tantrum. But in the script, I just raised my voice, had this thing. But I decided my girlfriend was serving tea in the scene, so I decided I would break all the teacups, bam, 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 which is fine and good if the director likes it. But then we have no teacups, so I went down my cruise sheet and I called the prop guy, and I said, "Prop guy, I'm going to break all those cups tomorrow, so you got to bring a bunch of different sets, okay?" He goes, "Thanks for telling me. No sweat." Bang. So we did it. I don't tell the director what I'm going to do. And we rehearse the scene, and I have it in my head when I'll break the cups, and then I'll give the speech and blah, blah, blah. But I don't show him. I just go through it, get to blocking where I'm going to be, where the camera's going to be. We all know we're going to be. Me, Susan Sarandon, Brooke Shields, and who played my girlfriend? Annette O'Toole. Those are the four of us on the set. So, and action. I break the cups. We had the scene. The director goes, "Oh my God, that was fantastic, but I hope we have more cups." And the prop guy said, "Yes, Eric called me last night, and because he did, we have more cups." That moment, to this day, that was 30 years ago. How many years ago? 42 years ago.
Wow.
That is one of my proudest moments on a set, was because
you were organized for great.
Killed the scene acting.
Yep.
Didn't hurt production because I did my homework and I called the prop guy. And that was one of my proudest moments I've ever had. And you?
Okay. There's so many, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, you know, I've worked on movies that Keaton's been in. Even the Keaton and Eric were both in. And Hollywood Dreams is one, and that Morgan catered. So, I mean, then it's like a family affair and it's just amazing. You know, my daughter's food, my husband's in it, my son is in it, and he's playing music in it, and I'm in it. I mean, it's just like crazy. But I think it was before I ever had my kids. My mom was doing the first nighttime soap. There had never been a nighttime serial. Like the nighttime dramas were each separate entities. It didn't continue till next time. There was no Dallas. There was no nothing. She did the first one. It was for NBC. It was called Terraces. And which was ironic because she's a comedy. She won many Emmys and stuff as a comedy writer, producer, director. But this was a drama. So she had me audition for, there was two girls who were the leads in it. One was very beautiful and she was very tough. She was a career woman. She was a publicist for the studios and she was married and, you know, all this. And the other one was her best friend. They'd grown up together, but much more just kind of the hippie and, you know, less successful with men and just less successful in general. And we shot it in Marina. It was all of our terraces adjoined and all the stories adjoined. And so she had me audition for the kind of dorky girl. And it was looking pretty good, but we weren't sure. And then it was looking not good because they found like a perfect person for it, which I even agreed with them. And they cast someone else as the sharp girl. And that was it. It was over. They shot a couple of days with the sharp girl. And I guess they decided they didn't love her work. So I got a call that late morning. Go to the network. You're testing for that role. I'd never looked at that role or thought of myself for that role. And I walk in the room and there's Gene Guest. You're testing at the network. It's the most high pressured. There's Ron Meyer from CAA, his wife, Ellen, who's the casting director, my mom, and Gene Guest and the whole brass at CBS. I'd never looked at this role before, but I had looked at it enough. So it wasn't one of those fresh, instinctive cold readings, nor was I owning it. I was just in limbo, the worst stage. I have the whole script in my hand. I walk in the room to start and I drop the script, which then goes flying all over the place. So the pages are everywhere. And now I have to, you know, and Gene Guest, who is Chris Guest's mom, and she's head of the network at that point. And she says to my mom, and they had to cast this person has to start shooting that afternoon. So she says to my mom, "Lila, you should leave. I think the dropping of the script was probably because you're here." My mom, you know, this is my mom's show. So my mom left and I'm just crawling around on the floor gathering up my pages, which would have been fine if it was a comedy, but it wasn't. And I take a breath and whatever, and we do it. And I have no idea what's going to happen, but I figure it's probably pretty not good. And especially they already haven't liked somebody, so they're going to be really tough. They don't want to fire 2 actresses from the same show. So I go out and I'm waiting, and then I'm descended upon by makeup, hair, and wardrobe, and I'm on my way to the set, and I've got this role. And just that first day on set, she was jamming these lines because she was the lead, and getting all ready or being gotten ready, and realizing that moment of realizing that I got this part, you know, it was so fantastic and overwhelming. I mean, there were no cell phones in those days. I didn't even have a chance to call whoever, wherever I was supposed to be, just to say, I'm not coming because my life just changed.
Yeah.
So just, you know, this is before Animal House, it's before everything. And it's called Terraces. You can find it.
Okay.
That moment of, because, you know, a lot of times you want a part so badly, and then you forget all that, and you get parts and you kind of take it for granted, or you complain or whatever. This was the perfect sublime merging of the want a part, get a part, and then the complete incredulity of having it happen. And so that was a pretty good moment.
That's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So here's our final. Actually, before I ask the final round, I got a speed round, a little fun round. Does Keaton live in Nashville?
Keaton now lives in Nashville. He's an LA boy, but he lives in Nashville.
Very cool. Is he able to do shows right now by chance?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna be in Nashville in like end of March.
What? That's great.
I would love to go see him. So.
Okay, good. All right, good. We'll figure that out.
We'll put you guys in touch.
Absolutely. Okay, so here's the speed round. I just ask a question, you just answer it real quick, and that's pretty much it. What's your favorite Beatles album?
Let It Be.
Maybe the Rubber album. I'm not sure. It's hard to choose a favorite.
Rubber Soul.
Abbey Road.
Rubber Soul is my favorite.
Rubber Soul, yeah.
Favorite movie?
Harold and Maude.
Really? I love that
Heartburn, which is a Mike Nichols film.
Harold and Maude's great. Favorite actor?
That's hard.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk while he's thinking. Obviously, I love Eric, but I also...
Meryl Streep.
Okay.
And after Meryl Streep, right up there, Meryl Streep, Eliza Roberts.
Oh.
There you go.
Well, I love Eric, but I also love Joan Cusack and John Cusack.
Okay.
There's a lot of actors that I really, but they're
It's
just so good.
It's hard to pick an actor because we love the Cusacks. We always scream, "Hey, they're on TV!" whenever either of them are on.
Yeah.
Fans, yeah.
Favorite genre?
Westerns.
Romantic comedy.
Yeah.
Favorite food?
Apples. But I'm sure I would love anything Morgan cooks.
Morgan says you love cheese.
I do. That's so cute that she does that. Well, so does her baby.
What was Eric's?
Italian.
Italian, yeah.
Anything Italian? Nothing in particular, just spaghetti.
Italian, anything Italian.
I'm vegan, so
all the pasta, all the sauces.
I'm vegan, so the only cheese I will eat, by the way, people.
Yes.
It has to be low in fat, but also it has to be from where I know the farm, the cows graze free and there's no animals harmed.
I see.
Yeah.
And then favorite board game?
Monopoly.
Yeah.
Candyland.
Candyland. Okay. And then last one. If you were forced to get a tattoo, what would it be of?
Well, I'm going to be getting a tattoo.
Really?
I have a scar on my left buttock. It's about this long and about that wide.
Whoa.
From a motorcycle accident I had that landed on my butt.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a scar that I'm going to use as a skyline. Get a little setting sun, and have my wife's name put in it because the sun sets on my wife.
Oh, it's amazing.
But here's the good thing about having a tattoo. It'll be in a place where only she will have to see it.
Exactly.
I'll never see it.
Right on your fanny.
If I was going to get a tattoo, my kids both have tattoos and they're tattoo experts. Yeah. So I would have to have them recommend something because I so wouldn't get a tattoo.
Yeah.
If there's such thing as a sparkly tattoo, it would have to be sparkly.
I think I'm going to recommend she get an Eric's Girl
Yeah, and like a heart. Or like a tramp stamp.
Yeah,
Right.
tramps.
And then anything you guys would like to plug. Obviously, as stated before, Eric is available for video shout outs on Cameo. Any films you'd like to promote?
Well, there's a singer-songwriter, Keaton Simons, that just because he's a family member doesn't mean, I mean, he's incredible. And every time I get to promote him, I want to. Keaton Simons. Just to Google him, and Keaton Simons, you will not be unhappy once you have him in your life. And also there's Pie Bake Shop, PI Bake Shop. The best pie maybe on our planet comes from
good.
the shop. Yeah. So that's the spot.
And then there's something we like all people who are parents to know about, which is
naturalchild.org. You want to go there. The best book in the world about that is called Natural Child.
Natural Child. Okay.
Amazing.
And where can your fans find you? Instagram, Twitter? Like what's
Everywhere they want to look, I'll be there waiting.
well, not TikTok because we don't know what that is. But
And it's at Eric Roberts, actor.
okay, so we don't know if it's at Eric Roberts
It
or
is.
at Eric Roberts actor, Kellen. Maybe you can tell us.
Yes,
All right. I got you. I know yours is Mom Eliza Roberts,
Mom Eliza Roberts.
and Eric's is at Eric Roberts, actor.
Okay, is that on Insta?
That's
Or
Insta.
Twitter. Okay,
Insta.
what about his Twitter? My Twitter's the same.
His
As-
Twitter is Eric Roberts. Oh yeah, it's just at Eric Roberts.
Okay, good. And he has Facebook also, but I don't know what it's called.
And your Twitter is at Mom Eliza Roberts.
That is correct. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for doing this. It was an absolute pleasure. This is our 17th episode, and I feel like this is probably the best one we've done so far.
Oh,
My lucky number is
agree.
8, 1 and 7. Good for you.
There you go.
Yeah, no, you guys had such amazing stories, and
Yeah.
I mean, I was blown away. And Kellen has spoken very highly of both of you, and I look forward to meeting you guys one of these days.
yes.
Absolutely.
Of course. Yeah, this was really fun, you guys. We've been wanting to do it. I'm so glad that we did, and how
Yeah.
fun. Thanks, guys.
I wish you both
Thank
the
you.
best of luck for 2021. I know it's going to be filled with many amazing things. Can't
Well,
wait to see you
we're
guys.
going to be seeing you all the time, right, Kellen?
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm seeing Morgan tomorrow, I think, for catering.
Okay, there you go.
So there you
All right.
go.
All right. Bye,
Hey,
guys.
nice to meet you, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Nice meeting you too.
Bye,
Peace out.
guys.
Bye.